cheers to episode 140.
I cannot drink heavy. It's 6:30, and I am a little hungover.
Hungover?
Yeah. Yep.
On a Monday?
I get hungover from 3 beers now, so
That's a lot.
Water for Evan. Alex, nothing.
just got home. No time.
Nothing's just even more depressing than just water. It's wild.
I just drank a bunch of water at work, so I don't need any more.
You might have to get up and
It's
pee
just a
during the
lie.
show. Welcome in, everybody, to the #1 sports podcast, all-around sports podcast in the state of Michigan. It is 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:33 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. And my college football season has officially begun this week. Big game week. Finally, we made it. Made it to November.
If you're allowed to play on Saturday.
If they even let Michigan take the field on Saturday, it's a good point. With the way this thing's trending, with our cancel culture in society, they may not be allowed to play. Let's see. On today's show, going to be pretty similar to past shows. A little bit different, though, with the Lions because they had a bye week. Shout out to Evan for a nice little award show idea for the Detroit
Too many
Lions.
awards, Evan. Do you want to hand out an
You
award to
really give
everybody
one
on the
for-
team?
Participation trophies.
Fuck
No,
yeah.
for God's sake.
2023,
Grant,
Alex,
you're
your
trying to
favorite.
get
You
me
hand
to
out
say
trophies to
something.
everybody
Nah,
anyways.
okay. Never forget WRA.
I don't.
Evan took WRA.
I don't know if I forgot. I just don't know what that is.
Wins
you
above
probably didn't have
replacement.
it. No. WRA is like the general writing class you have to take at Michigan State.
I never had to take that. I never took that. I didn't have to take
Oh, yeah. JCC. Oh,
Hell yeah.
WCC.
you know what they say about a Washtenaw degree? Or a Washtenaw student? What is
Who do you
the
call
phrase?
somebody that went to WCC?
Employed.
Employed.
That's a bar.
Anyways, WRA in our class, we the teacher asked the question to the class, and you had to pick a side. And the question was, should everybody on the team get a participation trophy in Little League? And 99% of the class said yes, and yours truly said no. I went to the other side.
That's the funny thing,
Did you
Alex, because
fail?
I wrote the same.
No.
I wrote the same thing. I think pretty sure I was at WCC. I wrote the same thing about participation trophies, how they're bad for society and bad for youth sports.
Do you guys know the two worst words in the dictionary? Or the most harmful phrase in the world. Do you know what it is?
At least you tried. Hope you had fun.
Close.
Everyone's a
Granted,
winner.
guesses.
Sportsmanship, pass it on.
That is pretty bad. Good job.
Good job. Good
No.
job.
What does that mean? What's the reasoning behind
most harmful phrase in the world?
I don't know.
Good job. Then you'll never push yourself to be any better.
But just what do you tell to someone that does a
Watch the
quote,
movie
unquote,
Whiplash, and then you'll
Good job.
understand. It's from the movie Whiplash.
with
Miles Teller.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see
Talk
that. And
about
J.K.
the
Simmons.
language in that movie.
Really?
The thing we were discussing earlier,
Hmm.
that is mentioned many times. Some
My-
of the things that he says to his musicians is out of pocket.
Wow.
It's a really good
I've
movie.
heard
I
great things
highly
about
recommend.
it. I've
That's
never
what
seen
J.K.
it, but I'll
Simmons.
have to watch it.
Yeah, he says some out of pocket stuff.
Well, he almost got canceled after that movie.
Well, that's ridiculous. Excuse my French.
When was the
because
release?
It
Was
was a
it-
movie.
True.
I'm not surprised he got. Oh, I actually thought about that after the movie. I was like, wonder if people think this is how he actually talks. And turns out, yeah, he tried to get canceled, I guess, according to Evan.
Wow.
The
Detroit-
world.
Detroit
Almost
Tigers
too
fan.
intense
He
of a
shows up
movie
at all their
for some
games.
people.
Oh, yeah. Then here's my advice for those people: don't watch it.
Just close your
Good
eyes. You don't have to watch it. Nobody's forcing you to watch it.
Now, Grant, you need to watch it because I'd like you to be better than what you've been lately, and I think it would really help you.
How so?
I just think that you're falling into a trap these days, and I want you to get out of it.
Troll Alex. couple minutes into the show.
Underneath my
This is
umbrella.
honesty.
Hello.
I'm not even going to entertain
Honestly,
this
pass
because I
it
know
on.
you're just saying these vague things.
No,
You don't
I
have
had a
actual-
conversation with someone about you this week or last week.
No. Well, I
That
missed
sounds
that.
hot. That sounds hot.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
What was
my
it?
bad.
I'm
What
going
was the
down road.
conversation?
I'm taking the trap. I'm taking the cheese out of the trap. Evan. I'm walking into his
We're
trap.
just
Yeah, you are.
talking
Yeah, you
about how we feel that you've fallen under this illusion of a brainwashing, and
About
we want
MSU
you to
football.
you got it. And we feel like, usually you're pretty reasonable, but all of a sudden the brainwash has gotten to you. It's gotten
Well,
into your blood.
Yeah,
I don't think Evan disagrees.
I think from my
He's a
It
little
wasn't
more
Evan,
biased
by
than
the way.
usual. He's a little more biased
It's a little-
than usual, but
It's
yeah, because my team.
when you said strap it up today, like Jesus Christ, you're not playing.
It feels like
I laughed out loud. I thought
That's just that's the quick way to summarize all these allegations. Like, let's just play the actual game. Because to your point, Alex, to our larger point about cancel culture, that is what's happening to Michigan football right now. People want to cancel them forever for cheating
No.
one time.
I don't. That wouldn't be fair. And
People
all the
don't want them to play. They want suspensions. They
No,
want everything right now. They don't want-
no. We
They don't
want
want
Jimmy
to-
Boy to get in trouble.
Right
the team
now.
can play.
which
I
is
Yeah.
want the
crazy.
whole-
Jimmy
I want
doesn't
the whole
play for the
program
team.
to burn.
But
To be honest,
it's cra-
I also want the whole program to burn at this point mainly because of your fan base and how
That's my bias.
God
speaking.
forbid.
yes,
they
my
stand
bias
up.
is speaking.
My
Oh,
bias is speaking
Grant,
that I
let's
want the whole
not
program to burn.
go for the whole standing up for themselves. It's more like victim blaming and pretending that they didn't do anything wrong. That's not standing
All right.
up for your program.
All
and
right.
we're not getting into this, and I'm not doing this today. So
That's a good lead.
on to the
It's a good lead.
topics.
Fact or fiction, Alex? Fact or fiction for Alex and Evan? If you were deep into Texas A&M Twitter and they were being accused of the same things and their fan base was behaving this way, I don't think, fact or fiction, would you have as much hatred in your heart for the fan base because they're not
That's
a rival?
not a
of
fact or
Michigan State?
fiction question. That was a yes or no question. Or
Fact or fiction, same thing.
fact, I wouldn't care as much. I hate Michigan. No one's disputing that. But I've
All right,
dealt
yeah.
with this for 26 years of my life and watched
Fact,
this
I
whole
would
fan
not
base play
care.
out.
I would not
at least
care
we
if
This
can-
is nothing new. And this goes
literally
deeper than the football
anyone
program, by
else.
the way. The university itself has always been arrogant and stuck up. That is
They're leaders in the
not
best,
me.
Alex.
Yeah,
They're
they're better
leaders
than
in the
everyone,
best.
and they deserve everything
bad.
but. But I'm not getting into it because
But we've
I can just
thrown-
hate them in my silence.
On this show, we've thrown that set of the belief out the window because I am the first to admit they're just like every other college team out there that's trying to gain an edge and break rules. So I don't know.
You're not what I'm talking
that-
about.
I think most of their fans would admit, or
No,
people would at least say,
that's where you're way wrong. Excuse my French. Evan's gone.
I've seen a lot of people, though, just say, yeah, Connor Stallions broke rules. I don't think that's under dispute anymore. People are willing to say
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly my point. Connor Stallions broke rules, not Michigan broke rules. Why can't it be Michigan broke rules? You saw the
They
Bo
did.
quote.
He worked for that. Yes. Connor Stallions worked for Michigan. So therefore, the program broke
Including
rules.
Jim Harbaugh, broke rules.
That's where I just can't get to yet because there's been zero evidence proven that he has done anything wrong other than
Then
the
Jim's an
NCAA.
idiot.
That's fine.
You
Jim
agree?
Does
Jim's very stupid if he doesn't know that this was happening in his program. You agree? Fact or fiction?
fact? I agree. You have
Okay.
to know.
Thank you. See, that's big of you. And I know the other 90% of your brainwashed fan base won't say that. That's fine. But that's why I want the program to burn to the ground.
But this all started because you said you were having off the record conversations with random people about how I'm being
Yeah.
brainwashed, and I'm just not.
Yeah. I think that you've ramped up your arrogance quite a bit in the last week or so. But clearly you've just had enough, and that's where we're
Do
at.
you-
It's boiling over.
Right. Do you think that there's a correlation between my ramp up in defense and ramp up of attacks against the team I root for?
We're not attacking you, Graham. You didn't go to Michigan.
I was asked.
And I'm not
politely-
attacking. I'm just simple. Well, today I sent 2 messages that were very clearly attacks. But sending tweets is not attacking. I just want everyone to see things. And I think
I
that's
was
what the other
asked-
people in the chat. Wyatt has all
was asked to
reasons to
comment.
do whatever he wants to do.
I was asked to comment today, and that's why I'm just going to comment.
It wasn't just today specifically. It feels like you've fallen into the Michigan trap a little more lately, and that's all.
But parts of it are a trap, and the parts that I'm riding or dying on, I don't think are traps because I've sifted through a lot of information. I've made my own opinion.
And I think with Michigan State people, we've had to suffer and just eat a bunch of shit for things that, weren't even football related, basketball related. So we're just extra pissed off about it. And that's just how it's going to be.
And that's valid.
When your football and basketball program gets dragged for a pedophile, serial, insane psychopath, we know how it is. You don't have to tell us that the media is out to get you. We know more than anybody else how it is. So I don't have any sympathy for that.
Why don't you just show the empathy then?
Were you on CNN, NBC, ABC, nightly news every single night? Was your university just getting absolutely dragged through the mud for months while you were a student on campus? No. So you don't get it.
I'm not pretending to.
You won't get it.
That's what. But
that's why we're extra mad because I don't want
it. I get it. I do understand where the frustration comes from, but at the same time, in 10 years from now, if there's a scandal, how often do we just revert back to, we were mistreated, so that means we can be more angry at a school being mistreated in some ways?
No. That's not what I'm angry about. I'm angry about Michigan pretending they didn't do anything wrong, and that saying Connor Stalions was just a rogue warrior, and that means Michigan should be okay, and that it's Michigan fans getting mad because Big Ten ADs and coaches are reporting violations against them. I watched Jim Harbaugh cry to the media about the tunnel incident before an investigation even started. And he said that they need to be arrested, basically.
Which I don't
it's just all hypocritical, is my point. I'm not even saying he was, but that's why I get so annoyed.
I get it. That's what power high level sports are, is everyone's just a hypocrite because everyone's just trying to win. I don't agree with Michigan fans that are just I think my biggest takeaway from this whole thing, experiencing this firsthand, is anyone that's saying something's black and white on this specific case right now, I think is premature. And that's my crux of why I don't think this whole suspend him right now is fair, because we're giving into the mentality in our country that you are guilty until you're proven innocent, not innocent
Small pushback.
until proven guilty.
1,000% agree that I hate that is where our country's gone. I do hate that. So I agree with you there. I would say, though, there is very clear video evidence of Connor Stalions all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's not there's no...
And he's fired. He's gone. He's not on Michigan's team. He's done.
Yeah.
He lost his career.
Yeah. Yes. But he can't be the only one that gets in trouble.
And I'm not disagreeing with that.
And I don't need a penalty today or tomorrow. I don't really care. I really don't care about any of it. I just care that the high and mighty were better than you, so it's okay. Garbage. That's what I can't stand. And the media's out to get us stuff. I don't know.
Pete Thamel right now.
I hope you leave that in the pod.
I'm going to bleep that, but that is where I'm at with Pete Thamel and a lot of other people.
Listen, I hate ESPN.
What's ESPN? Who's under ESPN now?
Yeah, they all
they dragged us through the mud.
SEC, big
SEC. Do you think they really care? Do they really care about the Big Ten anymore? No.
And Fox is being nice to us. It's very obvious what the networks want. Fox is being nice.
ESPN. That's Joel Klatt.
Joel.
Yes.
Yep.
I just listened to Greg McElroy and Dan Orlowski around 6:30 talk about how Michigan's basically innocent. Dan Orlowski was basically saying how Michigan's innocent.
I don't know how that make you feel, because he's your guy.
He is my guy. I just got pissed off and tried to not listen to it, but I was glued to the TV.
That little internal battle for Evans. Damn it.
At the end of the day, I've said this every week since this started. Accountability. It's all Michigan has to prove, and they can't do it because they're too high and mighty, and they never will. They'll never take accountability, and they just keep deflecting, try to putting it on others, saying, these schools cheated. Well, why not just say, we cheated?
All right.
But also
give us the penalties. Let's get them over
coach. So a lot of the fans are gaining the personality from their coach, and if their coach isn't going to mount up to confession,
I just want Jim to be either like tell us he knew because he did,
Jim will
or
never
public
tell
statement
you.
that say, I didn't know, I'm a moron, I should be fired for negligence.
He can't talk about the scandal per NCAA rules, which is another stupid thing in this
he
whole
couldn't
thing.
talk about the Michigan State tunnel incident, but he went to the media immediately and told everyone that they should be suspended.
Well, he's allowed to talk about that because it wasn't an
No,
investigation.
he wasn't, because that was under investigation.
Not by the NCAA.
Yes.
A minute after the game.
Pending investigation, and he immediately went and talked about it.
It was just a Solari video that he saw in the locker room that went to the podium. It wasn't an investigation
Grant,
yet.
look it up.
This is stupid semantics. I like to live in.
Well, I don't like Jim.
That's totally fine, but that shows your bias to the whole situation.
No,
let me just paint you.
I'm not being biased at all. I think what Jim's doing is incredibly negligent. Yes.
After just admitting you wouldn't care if Texas A&M fans were defending their schools hard.
I think that if Jimbo Fisher did the exact same thing and he was
that actually
either
makes me super happy.
Didn't know,
he's the most overrated college football coach of all time. I
would think he's a moron if he didn't know, and I'd want him to do the same thing. My program's directly involved in this because we're 40 miles away. The anger is from the fans and the
bias.
Walmart people.
Yes, from the bias, which is fine. Just admit you have it. We can all operate with our honest intentions.
See, I have bias, and I've admitted that. But, like, I don't think I'm even remotely off base here. Because I'm in group chats, Grant, where I just get constant hate all the time to the point my other friends are just leaving group chats left and right. Because your fan base is out of control.
That actually goes back to a rival Ohio State fan's fault because he brought that fan into his draft night. Okay, that's an Ohio State problem.
I mean, yeah, if you want to do the classic Michigan thing where you blame someone else again, yes, perfect.
There's people express their fandom in every different way.
Yes, agree.
This all started because you came on here with cryptic messaging saying you're having discussions.
I talked to Cody about it when he was mad. Yes, there you go.
Here's a simple question. I want you guys to go through with me a thought experiment. I want every Ohio State, Michigan State fan to go along with it as well. You can close your eyes. We can just walk through this. Alex is doing something with his lights. I want him to be focused for this.
I'm listening to fan. I'm just trying to get the fan to turn.
No, you're not focused right now. You're battling your ceiling fan.
It won't turn off.
All right. Michigan State has just won 2 Big Ten championships. They are 8-0, about to play the biggest game of their year. Okay, this is what
you don't have to describe the whole thing. If you're just going to say if we were Michigan right now, how would we feel? Then let's just get to the question.
That's what I'm teeing up essentially. Is that
no shit?
You think it's wrong for Michigan fans and their legal team to dig up dirt they have on other schools? You think that's like so? Are you saying that Michigan just needs to lay down and let the Big Ten and NCAA pat their bellies and suspend them? Because I'll just disagree with that. I think you should fight if you feel. I understand.
Well, it's all up to the Big Ten commissioner. He's got.
I would argue fighting is not.
There's no such thing as due process with the Big Ten.
What do you mean by fighting?
They're not fighting what they did. Instead of arguing what they did and saying that what they did wasn't wrong, they're just saying, "Oh, other teams did it, so what we did is okay." That's not fighting. That's just saying, "Oh, others are doing it." It's just
but it's all.
It's being like,
basically saying it.
I get caught cheating on a test, and I'm like, "Oh, well, Evan in the back left corner was cheating on the test too, but like he didn't get caught, so obviously he's not going to get in trouble."
It's just I don't see what's wrong with
as
that.
of right now.
If you want to open the weeds of a Big Ten commissioner doing something unprecedented, why not just expose it all? Like if you want to go down this path, let's talk about it all in the open about how sign stealing. And I'm saying Michigan's is the worst. I'm not saying what the other teams have done is on the same level. It's not. Connor Stanley's crazy person.
For the record, I don't need Michigan to get a penalty or not play. Like I'm going to be fine either way. I ultimately don't really give a shit if they get in trouble because I don't expect them to because of their garbage blue wall anyways. And so I'm not expecting it. So I don't care about that. I care that someone could just be like, yeah, we did it. Take your penalty and move on. But they won't. Instead, they're just going to be like, oh, well, everybody else is doing it. Instead, there's just no accountability.
Guy that got caught, though. They fired the guy that got caught. so far already. Before the more punishment will come. They fire the guy that got caught. That admits to.
I told you what I need, Jim, to say A, I knew about it. We cheated. Or B, Jim say, I didn't know about it. I'm very stupid. I should be fired for negligence. That's it. That's all I need. Get that done for me, Grant. And
so
I won't
you would
care
want
anymore.
if they had no evidence linking Mark D'Antonio to this scandal, you'd want him just to lay over and be like, "Yep, I did it."
Did you hear what I say, Evan? Or Grant? Did you hear what I just said?
Yes.
If he didn't know about it, then tell me you didn't know about it and you're stupid. Tell me that.
And he has to get fired for not properly controlling your own
because
program.
He didn't have control of his program, and that's in
which is an NCAA law and Big Ten law.
Correct.
Not Big Ten law. I looked that up today. It is an NCAA law, so they could skirt that. That's what they're preparing to do. Sorry,
Also,
Evan, I cut you off like 3 times. I want Evan to get what he wants to say.
I don't really have much of anything besides that. As of right now, the facts from the whole Rutgers, Purdue, and Ohio State thing is just coaches communicating with each other, which is not against the law or against any rules. And which happens all the time of other coaches saying, hey, this is what Michigan has. This is what Michigan's going to do. Totally fine. The whole thing where that is getting all screwed up is because all those other schools are reportedly saying this is Michigan has these signs and here are Michigan signs. Basically, that's what the reports are as of right now. Came out today. Ohio State has nothing to do with the investigation thing.
Which I was told was a fact, and 100% Michigan had that against Ohio State, and now it comes out it's not true. So now I'm questioning everything.
Ohio State just lost, and I wouldn't doubt them trying to help Purdue in any way, and I wouldn't doubt Brom reaching out to Ohio State and saying, "Hey, any of those."
Dude.
I think
Jeff Brom's not the head coach at Purdue.
This was last year in the Big Ten tournament, Big Ten championship game. That's when it was reported. I'm not talking about this year.
Like I said, I don't keep up with this stuff that much. I just get angry.
I do, and I love it.
I'm happy for you.
I just want to watch a factory burn down to the ground.
It'd be funny.
It would.
I feel bad.
Funny.
I'd feel a teensy bit bad for Grant if he didn't get to watch Michigan football play anymore. I would feel bad about that. I would be honest. I would not feel bad for listener Brad.
All I've maintained
I don't
this
even
whole
think
time,
he watches Michigan.
Just watches us.
People can go back and look at in the beginning episodes when we started talking about this. I've maintained 2024 does not exist to me. I am solely just getting defensive for 2023. If they want to, Jim's leaving for the NFL after this year. That's my gut feel.
I don't think anything's going to happen in 2023 anyways. I've said that since the beginning.
They're trying to suspend him tomorrow. Like, there's a good chance by the time this podcast is released that the Big Ten has filed to suspend him either indefinitely or for 2 games, and that is what Michigan is building up their defense.
Look at Evan. The grin on his face
to get a court order.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Jim Harbaugh getting suspended, does it really mean anything?
Yes, I think so. Especially
I think
at Penn State.
I think it
for
actually
sure matters.
Helps. I think it actually only helps your team. I don't think it doesn't hurt your team at all.
But you don't want your OC then to have to take on a head coach duties or whoever they make head coach.
Who gives a shit who the head coach is?
It's going to be Sharon Moore. He'll be head coach next year anyway.
They have experience doing it because he's already set out 3 games, which is people just...
Correct. So I don't think it really matters. I really don't think it matters about who the head coach is. As long as your defensive coordinator is still there and your offensive coordinator is still calling plays, I really think...
And as long as Connor is somewhere close to tell the plays every time, you should be fine. You know, he can still go to games. He can just sit front row and just scream them down. Grant? You don't think you're going to get any shit for this? Because, yes, we're going to make jokes. That's how it's going to be.
No, you can make jokes. It's just invalid because it was the biggest thing about today's reports, and Evan did a good job saying the facts. What the other teams are being accused of in the Big Ten is not technically illegal under NCAA rules. It could, however, fall under sportsmanship, vague wording in the Big Ten, because what the Big Ten is deciding to do this week, there's no rules that they have that they can suspend Jim Harbaugh off of because they have no evidence. What they would suspend him off of is the sportsmanship clause that they're trying to get him for. That sportsmanship clause could also be applied to teams colluding to pass around one team's signs to other teams in the championship game. Will it happen? I don't know. But what it proved to me is when I saw the play sheet that was being given to rival teams, other teams in the Big Ten, of Michigan's signs and plays, it's like, all right, so the whole Michigan was getting some ungodly advantage. Maybe Stallions was doing it better than other teams, but these other teams, everyone has each other's signs, is what I learned this week in college football. I didn't necessarily know that. I was a little naive to it, but if you have play sheets of everyone's signs, It's on everyone just to change them. And there's no massive on-field advantage that one team is getting, is what I learned, at least in the Big Ten. I don't know how it operates in other conferences. So
We'll never
I don't
know.
feel
We'll
like,
never know the advantage Michigan truly had. We'll never know.
No.
They might have
I
had a
do think
massive
some
one.
coaches
They might have had none.
outside.
We'll never know.
I think some coaches outside the Big Ten that are speaking on it, I have a little bit better insight of seeing how big of an advantage is it. I think probably I would say 75% of the game, it's not that big of a deal. But obviously, your key downs, key distances, key
Third
plays
downs might be big.
when those situations rise, red zone, fourth down plays, third down plays, like all that stuff. When you obviously know what's coming, I think that's a big deal. But 75% of the game, like in the middle of the field, when it's 1st and 10, and you just call the play out of the huddle from the sideline, really not that big of a deal.
Agreed.
And I don't want to get...
It still matters. Obviously, it's just... My biggest thing with this whole news of Michigan reporting it now, we're already 3 to 4 weeks into it. What now makes you realize, oh, hey, we have this now? You're already been under fire
the gun.
for the last,
That's why
the last 3 weeks.
Well,
I think it's a little too late for the cookie to crumble.
Boards. I know you hate message boards. I know you do.
I absolutely
Grant's
hate
balls
message
deeper
boards.
You hate them.
deeper than me.
There was a free
in this
30-day
situation,
subscription.
I wouldn't doubt Grant buying for subscription in this certain situation.
30-day free trial, Evan. I don't want to run. I feel comfortable repeating what the one I subscribe to says. It is not Chris Ball, so that guy is off the reservation. He just says outlandish shit, and some of it hits, but a lot misses. It's not him. It's, I think, Josh Henschke, who I plugged. Alex, I see why you're always hesitant to say, because they say please don't like put this stuff in.
They ask you to not talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'm not paying
Which
for
is
it,
why
so
I
it's
try
free.
not to.
It's free to me, so I'm just going to say it. What happened is when the Big Ten commissioner met with the president of Michigan, Santa Ono, it basically was just like, hey, we're going to try to suspend Jim, and he's like, you're not going to. We're going to fight it. So Michigan was mounting all this evidence that they've had and just been sitting on, and they're going to release more. It's a big game of chicken with the Big Ten. If the Big Ten decides to suspend Jim Harbaugh tomorrow, Michigan's going to file for a court order to appeal it, and they're just going to start dropping more evidence they have against other teams. And they're just going to continue to like slowly just let it out during the week, the same way that Pete Thamel did at the start of this against Michigan. So
Good news,
it's a big game of chess.
We don't cheat. That's
chicken.
why we suck.
There was an athletic article that I showed Alex or said
If
to
we're
him
cheating,
that
we need to treat harder because we suck at cheating.
Evan, we're not cheating.
Iowa and Michigan State were two of the Big Ten teams that just were clueless about any sign stealing operations.
I
You know why? Because our
said our
coaches
next
are
coach
a bunch of idiots.
better cheat
Bunch
and
of
cheat
idiots. Actually, you know
That's
what? No,
the exact
Grant.
point, Alex. You want to cheat,
I saw
so you're
Jay
defending
Johnson
us.
and Ross Ells cheat. I saw how bad
Grant,
they are.
we need to
They
cheat to
cheated.
win
Fire 'em.
6 games.
Okay, fire them.
Evan's going to give him dirt.
I'll give him Joe. I saw
Evan,
Jay
you
Johnson.
should Photoshop them in different places at Big Ten games.
We won a
Fired.
football game Saturday.
I know I was still waiting to declare it last show, but credit to you guys for jumping the gun on it. But yeah, it was Connor Stalins on the CMU sideline. I have read that in multiple places now on the boards that it was 100%.
I mean, you couldn't tell.
It was early when we recorded. It was like a day in of it, and I was like, I don't know, but it's 100% him. And there's theories though.
Is good at cleaning vacuums?
There's theories though
That is weird.
he was there because Central Michigan he was in cahoots with Central as well. Like he was working as a hired gun for Central.
Oh yeah,
help them with science.
100%.
Like it wasn't necessarily stealing Michigan State stuff for a later game against Michigan because like why would you have to steal game one? That makes no sense.
I think it was a little
Central,
bit of both.
It's probably both.
Yeah. He's like, sure, it's Friday night. I have nothing else to do. No one likes me, so I'll go to this game. But that's crazy that Central was like, we have a hired mercenary.
That's why Central hasn't come out with its investigation findings. That's why the NCAA
Central owes us
Central is taking forever.
$2 million. That's what needs to happen.
I think that's fair. It's fair.
I saw the
best thing to
Chiefs
do is-
doing that, saying they have to pay us back what we paid them. Yeah, 100%. 100% agree with that.
Never schedule Central.
Oh yeah,
ever
we're not
again in
playing them
football.
again. No.
Refuse to play them. I would literally go around and play every single MAC school twice
Yeah, I would never
and
play
give them
Central again.
like twice as amount of money. And be
This
like, "Here you
also
guys
just
go."
confirms my theory that Central is an absolute
It's a
toilet
Michigan
bowl.
feeder program.
Feeder school for Michigan.
I actually hate Central. I've never liked Central. There's only like one person I like that went to Central Michigan.
Antonio Brown.
Ben
Dan
Butcher.
Lefevre. Oh,
Dan Lefevre as well.
Dan Lefevre, legend.
Antonio Brown.
Jake
Oh.
Fisher. Jake Fisher played for the Chiefs, Alex. Come on, that's kind of criminal. Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Not really a Chiefs fan, Evan. More Patrick Mahomes guy.
This year when they've already lost twice, I'm not really a Chiefs fan.
That's not exactly how it works, Evan.
Front runner.
Wrong.
Any other things you guys want to attack me about on the scandal, or any other thoughts before we?
I do.
All right. What?
Michigan. And anytime you say something ignorant in the chat, I'm going to say that again.
It doesn't bother me at all because
I know.
it's just anger. I don't care.
It's not anger. I'm just saying it to spite you.
I don't have much of anything
else.
I just wish that
That's all I need to comment.
I wish somebody would just have like an hour-long show of just releasing the facts, the actual like hardcore nosed facts.
Well, Evan, facts don't exist in this country.
I need to sit down with Connor Stallions just to get into his brain.
No,
I don't know if I want to know.
That dude's a serial killer. If you told me that he had murdered people, I would believe you.
That's what's in all the vacuums. Dead body parts.
I don't know, man.
That's the most psycho video I've ever seen.
I think every program needs to find their own Connor Stallions to really reach new heights. I think they do.
Also, if Michigan just goes on the rest of the year and loses to Penn State, loses to Ohio State, and looks like shit, makes you wonder.
I don't know. It doesn't anymore.
It looks pretty bad against Purdue.
We had Ohio State sign last year, and Ohio State had ours, so it didn't matter.
The worst offense in the Big Ten scored the most points of any Big Ten team this year.
I don't think they had them to that extent that you have Ohio State's, Grant.
Connor Stallions did it better, but they for sure were in cahoots with Rutgers because we already played them by that point. And Schiano was a shit.
Greg Schiano that smart.
Greg Schiano kicked 3 field goals inside the 5. He literally is a plant for Ohio State. That guy,
former defensive coordinator for Ohio State.
The worst. 100%. He's a puppet for Ryan Day.
He coached at Rutgers first. People forget.
I don't care where he did before. I know that now. He's an Ohio State shill because they gave him a chance to revive his career because he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
Yeah, who else is a scumbag?
Italian.
You're going to say Harbaugh. I just want everyone to be...
Ward Manuel is actually a scumbag.
He didn't go to the playoff committee tonight because he's staying back in Ann Arbor. Got to stay up late to get through this investigation.
4-page paper to read to the camera. And just for
I just know that if Ohio State was good, if they were like the wagon that kicked Michigan's butt for a decade, they would not be such crybabies on the internet they are right now. They're just crying so hard because they're worried about November 25th, and that's right where I want to be.
That's how I feel about Michigan being crybabies about the whole thing too. Honestly, from an outsider's perspective here, we're just watching both your programs just whine and complain.
Michigan's defending itself because they're trying to win a title. If Michigan was bad, you could. If Michigan was 8 or what would the record be? If they were 4-4, fire Harbaugh tomorrow. They're trying to win a title.
Yeah, and then breaking news, nothing's going to happen. So you're going to be.
Great. You really
just win your game.
I don't know why you keep saying that, Alex. They're literally the news this week was they gave.
Get out of the message boards, as Evan has told me before, and just relax.
Get out.
If it happens,
it was a public. Alex, it's a public tweet. I know you say you're not in every week. I understand that, but I'm telling you right now, the Big Ten gave Michigan 48 hours for the suspension. It's coming.
If Jim Harbaugh gets suspended, you're going to be fine. Your team,
because they have that.
Your football team on the field
doesn't have to be a punishment
in court.
Your team.
It doesn't have to be like a suspension. It could just be a punishment. It could be that they don't get any revenue from TV deals, bowl TV revenue.
Fine, Jimmy.
I'll take that.
That's fine. I really, honestly, Grant, you should be happy if they suspend Jim Harbaugh for 2 games.
No, I can't accept that, Evan.
And honestly, if he gets suspended for 2 games when you play Penn State and Maryland,
he's not missing the game. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be a joke. That'd be mob mentality.
So then you'd start
convicting someone. No, I'd be pissed. Every game that Michigan would lose is an asterisk because they don't have their head coach. Flip it the other way.
Asterisk for cheating, though.
Asterisk the other way.
Mike Tirico, notable scumbag.
Notable scumbag. Lives in Ann Arbor, some are saying.
Yep, he loves Michigan. Leads the M. Scumbag.
It's just the whole thing is such a debacle in it. It's been good. I've made my list of people that I no longer value their opinion on the internet. A lot of big J's, a lot of blue check marks, just absolute idiots. But let me say this: Greg Doyle from the Indy Star wrote an article today saying that he can't vote for JJ McCarthy for the Heisman out of his moral compass. And they pulled up receipts from the Johnny Manziel years, and he literally has a line saying that only like these 3 criteria could ever prevent you from being voted by him, and it had nothing to do with anything that JJ McCarthy's being accused of. He is the biggest loser probably going in this whole thing.
The only thing that's good that's come out of this is that now you realize, after all these years, how shitty the media really is. And when they come after your program, they like.
It's so easy who's on each side. Like yesterday,
it's the most biased party in the world.
They start their campaign on the offensive of saying, hey, other people were passing around our signs, and Pete Thamel says nothing about it. It's on ESPN for over 24 hours because they're just going to choose the facts that they want to report. It's just the biggest joke.
Welcome to our
Stephen
world,
Stephen A. Smith going, there's no way if I'm the CFP I could put Michigan into the playoff. Oh, my God.
He gets paid to say stuff like that, so that's a little different.
Pat McAfee, too. Like, I don't know how you could put him in the playoff. Shut up.
Well, what'd Pat call us? Something not nice.
Stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
College football.
He
said
text
Cody. This about Michigan.
Stuff. I don't have my phone.
Oh, it's just a screenshot. I will say this, not to get into semantics. I do want to move on. I understand that the passing of signs from school to school, like the play sheet of what Michigan had, is not illegal. I feel like it's just semantics, though, because Connor Stalions is hiring outside people that don't work for Michigan to go film games so he can decode their signs, whereas a coach figured out Michigan signs and another school is basically saying, hey, can you give me those? Like it's at the end of the day, it's passing information to a team of signs of another team.
I would argue they're
one is breaking the rules.
Substantially different, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
The end result is the same. Michigan probably had more information.
Yeah, not quite the same.
Michigan had 1,000 more information. Obviously, like those coaches don't have to share everything together.
And either way, if those coaches are just deciphering signals mid-game, like you're not going to get a full whatever Connor Stalions is doing. I mean, dude's watching TiVo of games all night long.
I mean, but if you have
multiple games,
if you have
multiple signs.
The sheet says like throat slash equals this play. Like it's the same thing as the little hand things that Connor Stalions had. One team just put it in a visual graphic and one team just wrote it out. I mean,
if it makes you feel better, sure, but I think it's different, and that's fine. We don't need to get into it.
One's more nefarious and crazy because the
one is a bigger advantage, and that is true.
How do we know that?
Because we do.
Yeah, I gotcha. You don't know.
It's to help your team win more, Grant. That's why.
Or they're better. That's what you come back to.
If they're so good, why'd they have to do all this shit in the beginning?
Because he's a psychopath. Because he's trying to prove.
But people knew about it.
Because he's stupid and he's a psychopath.
Tell him to stop. Don't have him stand next to your defensive coordinator on the sidelines the entire game, telling him every single play. If you're so good, you don't need him. Fire him when he was going rogue. You didn't have to wait this long.
Serious question, Alex. You 100% believe there's just zero chance that Jim just never asked this guy how he
I don't think that. But don't tell me that the DC who's getting the play from Connor Stalions next to him doesn't know. Jim might pretend he didn't know.
Every school has a guy, big school has a guy on their staff that does that, though. They are idiots for not stopping it and getting the bomb. But there's a chance in my brain that Jim Harbaugh just did not know this kid was doing this. Because he would never tell him to go to the Central Michigan State game. That's ridiculous. He would never be like, yeah, go. No coach is that dumb.
Well, I think we learn every year when we do this podcast that coaches are actually that stupid.
In game. But like the risk reward is not worth it. Sending him to a Friday night opening season game for a team to play.
I don't think Jim ever said that.
I don't think Jim was like, hey, Connor. I don't think they talked to each other. Agree.
I don't think Connor Stalions worked alone.
Yeah, he couldn't have.
I'm sure. He probably had minions of his lower staff. I just
there
feel
had
like
to be at least one coach on staff worth knowing that looked at what he was doing. Just looked at it. I'm not saying did anything with it. I'm just saying
they knew.
One day Connor's in the middle of his office or in the facility, like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing of all time. And a coach is like, hey, dude,
it sure sounds like Connor Stalions was showboating a lot about how sick he was at stealing signs. He sends those texts to those coaches. That one guy that's not there anymore. He was like a good recruiter. I can't remember his name.
Sorry, Chris Partridge.
Yeah. That guy knew everything Stalions was doing.
He's a linebackers coach. Like I'm saying he knew, but there's a real chance. Like,
you don't think he's sitting down with the DC having a beer and be like, yeah, that Connor Stalions kid's crazy. You should hear what he did this week. Yeah, like there's no way. These are just football coaches talking ball. They definitely talk about this psychopath that's doing crazy shit. They do.
They also might have like they may not want to implicate people as well.
That's even worse because they know it's illegal then.
Or there's a chance Connor is such a psychopath, he actually convinced his pea-brain that he was skirting NCAA rules because they weren't Michigan employees. I also fully believe if that's what he like came out and said, like, yeah, I thought we were fine because it's a gray area.
My point is, if it didn't matter and they didn't need him and they didn't need to do this to win, which I'm not even saying for the record that they needed it. I probably agree they didn't. But if they knew that, you don't let it drag to this point. You don't let him on. You fire him because you're like, wow, this dude's a serial killer. Or you'd be like, yeah, man, it's not working out.
Like, you fire him, then it opens up its own investigation of what was he doing.
Well, what would you rather have, that or what happened right now?
So far right now, because there's been no punishment.
I mean, I think if you guys would have fired Connor Stallions, no one would have batted an eye because they'd be like, who the f*** is Connor Stallions?
No one batted an eye when you fired the child predator.
Yeah, no one even knew about it. And Jesus, is that bad?
We still don't know, Evan.
That is so bad.
He's a child predator.
Grant, if you can't...
Wait.
Connor Stallions isn't a child predator.
We're talking this like student assistant that went to the...
You're talking about Matt Weiss. I thought you were talking accusations of Matt Weiss.
Well, Matt Weiss is a child predator.
That's how many scandals there are. Yeah, okay, yes.
He's also a child predator in a different way.
We don't know what Matt Weiss did.
We don't know.
That guy's just addicted to porn. The Andrew Udon was actually trying to communicate with 13-year-olds. 10-minute video.
That was...
Video?
Well, yes. I didn't watch it all because it was weird.
Oh,
I watched a good
it
chunk of it.
multiple times. I've watched solid 3 times all the way through.
That channel was really popular. I'd never heard of that.
I had seen it on TikTok before. There's
a TV show about it.
Yeah.
It's Catfish, but in a different way.
And if any of you that listen to this podcast do stuff like that, don't listen to our podcast anymore.
Agreed. Oh, you're saying to them?
Yeah, to them.
Weekly recaps feels a little weird. Does anyone have anything notable to add?
It feels like we just can't go back to those at this point.
I was in Spartan Stadium this weekend.
Saw a dub.
Saw a win.
Yes.
Surprisingly, it was actually quite more full than I was expecting.
Filled in after the start of the game. There was nobody there. It seemed like
it was noon, and I was like, "Why am I drinking already at 8:30? Noon games absolutely stink. Noon games stink."
Can't believe you guys tailgated. Cannot believe you guys tailgated like that.
Did they really tailgate though?
Absolutely,
yeah, they were out there.
I was outside. I cracked a beer at 8:37.
A little late.
Leo's
Coney. Was a little late. But I also have realized that there are probably 4 fun people left in Spartan Stadium.
Now, Evan, is there any chance that maybe what you guys were saying were causing some issues? I mean, I've sat with both of you at games, and I'm not saying it's your guys' fault, but you have certainly said some out of pocket things where if I was an innocent bystander, I'd be like, holy shit, maybe that guy needs to chill.
Not one out of pocket thing was said. There was literally what we said in the group chat,
which was
we just got called when the lady turned around and stared into Cody's soul and said, "Stop it."
But what'd you guys say?
Okay, so standing up.
Because I also know Wilkins has a potty mouth. He might have just been saying a lot of F-words.
Or there was a flag. And the entire stadium is booing at the call. Cody says something like, something along the lines like, you can't do that for Matt Rule, or Matt Rule isn't a good coach. That simple. Literally nothing more.
I already know why this happened. I do.
There had to be an expletive in there.
I know why this happened.
Rule's not a good coach.
I know why this happened. Because this lady's probably been sitting there for 3 seasons and knows what Cody says, because I've sat there with him and he says out of pocket shit. And there's I'm sure she was like, I gotta stop this before it gets going type of thing.
No, because she's soft. She's soft.
I mean, Evan, how many games have you sat with Cody at a Michigan State football game before?
That was my first one in a long time.
Okay, well.
Actually, not that long. I went to
Kenneth Walker season.
And Northwestern game. And the Miami game.
Cody was... Oof. He said some stuff.
But...
A lot of looks.
I also... Ross Ells got a flag on the first punt.
No, Evan, if you said what you said at the Michigan game, that warrants a look.
I did not say that out loud. I did say Ross Ells is terrible at his job, and the gentleman with that lady turned around and gave me a big old, shook his head like, unbelievable. I can't believe you said that. And I instantly, went back at him after he turned around and said, no, Ross Ells is getting over $500,000. He's terrible at his job. We fire these people. And then somebody was like, we should fire Ross Ells. And then I, underneath my breath, actually turning to Cody, I said, no, we should drown him in the river.
See, that's when you just take one step too far.
Then Johnny Spirit later was kind of intersection, and I was just calling him fat, screaming out loud in front of everybody, saying, "Oh, look at you, you tub of lard, your gut sticking over your belt." I had a guy turn around and start laughing at me.
All right.
Good time.
Look, I'm of the belief that
I'm going to defend you guys, but I also know you guys.
Now there's talks that it's going to be me, Cody, and Paige are going to get season tickets together, and we're going to go up in the upper deck where we can say whatever we want, and all the grit people are up there.
Oh,
that's
like
something.
That. Not the
well,
cushy,
the chances we get 3 tickets together
come
anywhere close to where your tickets were or our tickets.
Oh yeah, agreed. Not going to happen.
Yeah, so we might just
maybe
go to the upper deck and just
if we hired Dave Clausen,
hire Mike Elko or Lance Leopold. Or
well, those are good
anybody
options.
that's on the list.
Whoa,
No, they're
Leopold.
Those are
No,
good
it's not.
options.
He's not a good option. He has a below 500 winning record in 3 years of coaching high-level college football. So is he really that good of a coach?
Mark D'Antonio did too.
Evan's coming with facts.
Actually, no.
Mark D'Antonio went
Mark
6
D'Antonio
and
did.
6 and 7 and 5 of the 2 years prior to getting hired by Michigan State. Is that a
About
win?
500.
That's above 500.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't know what
sure.
you're talking
I think his final record at Cincinnati was like 18 and 18. Is my point.
I don't really know what
Who are you
you're
talking about, Evan? Dave Clausen?
No, Lance Lee.
No, Lance Leopold.
Dave Clausen would be a horrendous hire. I'll give Evan that.
I stand with Evan and Cody, I think. I guess I stand with both sides. I understand why people get mad at them. But
Looks
I
like
also
I pulled
think
that
your kids' gloves should be off at a football game. Like you're signing up to go into the Lions Den. You have to know what you're getting into. People are going to yell shit.
I can tell you right now, this lady was fed up with Cody from like multiple games, and that is what this was about.
I hope I get season tickets with them next year, and I hope they're sitting there next year because they're going to get an earful the first game of the year. An absolute earful.
I think they've taken so many earfuls from Cody that they probably were just like, not today, man. Not today.
No.
And I can't blame him because sometimes it is uncomfortable sitting next to Cody at football games. I'll say it. And he knows that.
It can't be that bad.
And when you listen to this, Cody,
exciting.
you know you say some stuff that's just not appropriate.
I think it was all good.
He's probably in his car laughing. Like, ha, he's kind of right.
Hey, probably.
To clear up, Mark D'Antonio went 18 and 17 at Cincinnati.
Winning record. Winning record.
I'm sure if the roles were reversed, like if this was now and we were talking about a Cincinnati coach that was about to go 6 and 6, Evan would be like, yeah, that guy's going to be a failure. I know for
his name
a
is
fact.
on our list, I guess.
100% Evan would be saying that.
I don't like anybody on our list.
That's
Wait a
the
minute,
beauty
though.
of the list.
Wait a minute.
There's
Wait
no
a
good
minute.
coaches.
That's what you think, but I have a
Yeah,
stat
Brian
for you that
Hartline's
might
a good coach.
make you feel better, Evan.
Oh, God. Here you go.
52.
Do you want it? Do you want the stat or no?
The Big 12. Are we going to go play? Well, actually, our record next year
Lance
is not
Leipold
too
is
bad.
500 exactly.
Boom, bitch.
Sorry, I don't want to cut.
No,
52
count
and
your,
52.
count your, I'm calling, I asterisk grant me. You can asterisk me. You have to do a
Okay,
high level
just like
football, like higher than
Buffalo,
Division.
Kansas.
Go to Division 2.
You're counting his
Whitewater.
divisions?
He was
Division 2.
109 and 6 at Wisconsin Whitewater.
You want
He's
to
a
add those
wagon.
in, Evan? Then he'll be way over 500.
Let me fact check my guy.
He doesn't want to.
All of a sudden,
He's going to Spiro. It's definitely Justin Spiro who posts out all these records. I know
Probably.
this.
is.
Yeah, it probably is him.
The number one butt boy for Urban Meyer on the internet said something misleading about Lance Leipold. I would be shocked.
Well, Alex used to be Urban Meyer's butt boy too.
I still love Urban.
Yeah, I
I
was
still
gonna
want Urban, but I just, yeah,
You just don't
He's
need a
doing the old
Kansas
Pete
football
Thamel
coach.
to Urban
There has
Myers.
not been one good Kansas football coach.
that's the point. The fact that he's made
The
Kansas
Mangini,
decent.
the big guy.
Eric
The big
Mangini,
guy
Jets
was
head
good.
coach.
That's not the fact,
No,
Alex.
the
We're gonna
big
be in
guy.
the same. We're gonna be in the same.
Evan,
The largest
I think
coach in football history.
the part of Leopold that's impressive is he's taking an absolute dumpster fire and making them relevant. We are that right now. We need someone like that.
No, you need something better than that.
What?
Because you're going.
You need to give me a candidate, Evan.
He's going to say Brian Hartline.
A guy that's never coached before and that your brother wants fired from Ohio State.
True. That should be telling, Evan. Listen
Actually,
to your brother.
no, Wyatt doesn't want him fired.
He said it
know
on
who's actually
Saturday.
running the ship over there.
He said on Saturday that Brian Hartline should be fired.
A spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade.
him.
CJ Stroud and what's his name? Kyle McCord are just not the same quarterback.
Brian Hartline didn't even call plays with
McCord
CJ.
better.
So
I'm just saying that Ohio State's.
Evan, you can't seriously tell me that all these other candidates are bad and then tell me Brian Hartline is like some dream hire when he's never even coached before.
He is because he's young. He's exciting. He recruits well.
He recruits well at the easiest school in the country to recruit at.
So you think Lance Leipold's going to be able to recruit well at Michigan State?
No, I don't. I think he'll develop players and coach well.
You gave him, they bought him a Chevy Trailblazer. I said, hey, drive until it dies. Now you are giving Lance Leipold a brand new freaking Corvette with a brand new house that you can show off to everybody in America. And you trust that old piece of hag to run your program.
Yes.
There's no way in hell.
He could walk right into Cass Tech and relate to those kids.
I don't think he's going to come in and recruit well, but like Mark D'Antonio didn't come in and recruit well. We got to go back to the roots.
Now you're comparing.
We need someone to coach.
Nope. Now you're comparing the most winningest football coach in Michigan State history to a guy that gets Kansas around 500 every year.
He's been there for like 2 seasons for one. They're well above 500 at the moment this season. And
as
they just beat
losing to Kansas State. Congrats. You won a football game against
They're also playing with their
18-year-olds.
backup quarterback when their starter would be the second best quarterback in the Big Ten.
Oh, so Noah Kim's not finishing top 4 like he predicted at the beginning of the year?
No, Evan, I'm sometimes wrong.
Oh,
I'm willing to say that.
But it's kind of nice, though, Evan. I think it gives him a little bump that he knows what a successful program looks like. He was 109-6 at Wisconsin Whitewater. I know not D1 football, but that gives him a little boost than other people.
It's the only reason I even argue with Evan is because he acts like Brian Hartline is some like can't miss.
Attracted to him, like
but
Hayes.
there's no substance there at all that tells you that he's going to be a good coach. There's not.
Recruiting.
Like I said,
this is a stance.
You throw Grant in as an assistant at Ohio State,
draft prospects,
and Grant is going to be able to recruit these people.
I don't think so.
Yes, Grant's pulling in multiple 4-stars at a minimum.
I don't think so.
Full Connor Stallions.
How could you not, Evan? You're selling the program, not you. Like if Grant walked into a room and he was an assistant at Kansas, nobody's following him. But if he walks in
Hi, I'm Grant.
as assistant at Georgia and was like, "Hey, come play for Georgia," yeah, it sells itself. You don't need people
Ohio
to do
State.
that.
Do you want to be the next Maserati bar?
You don't have to.
Where do I sell?
At Michigan State, you have to sell more than just a program. At Ohio State, you sell the program. It's easy.
SD4L.
Lance Leipold's going to be able to sell the program.
No, I just told you I don't think he's going to be some great recruiter, but I know he can coach football, and that's what we should care about because we just had a coach who couldn't coach. Don't you want someone who can coach? Who can like run? Do you want the Jay Johnson experience again? Do you want to keep doing that?
Brian Hartline's piss can call a better game than what Jay Johnson's doing.
Can he?
Yes.
He has 5 stars at every position, and their offense is not like blowing me away every week.
Well, you're telling me that Brian Hartline's not doing that, so it's Ryan Day.
No, I said he hasn't called plays until this year. And that's their worst offensive year they've had in some time.
Ryan Day calls plays still.
Probably, but we don't know.
I've read the articles. He does.
Oh.
He took him away from Brian Hartline before the season started.
That's another indictment then.
I don't know what he does right now. I haven't read the midseason
What does Brian Hartline do then? Answer me that question.
Recruit. Coach. He schemes everything. Like during the week.
It's just hard for me to think that
Ryan
guy's
control issues.
a guy that can't be an offensive coordinator yet is ready to be a head
Whitewater
coach.
is Division III grant. So anything above Division III for Lance Leipold stats.
We still did that. He's 500.
No asterisk 7. He's 500.
He's 500. That's what you need.
Buffalo and Kansas.
Division III.
Yeah, he's 500. Just accept it.
Went 7-5 in the MAC.
At a school that had gone to one bowl game.
8-5. I'm on Wikipedia. Some people say it's not trustworthy, but I'm looking at their. I think as Kansas 7-2 this year. Because if it isn't, this is updated.
Yeah, they're 7-2. I just know for a fact that Evan doesn't actually sit there and think that Brian Hartline's a good coach. He's just
100% do.
Because I've listened to you tell me that new is not always better and blah, blah, blah. And that
actually,
the backup quarterback isn't better, blah, 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 blah. And then, but now it's.
I told you the backup quarterback wasn't better, and you didn't believe me. You thinking Noah Kim was going to be better, and now we're all proving it wrong. That
I said on the first show that Caden Hauser would be better than Noah Kim. But I'm
saying Payne Thorne. Noah Kim is the backup because Payne Thorne should have been the starter. Noah Kim was
Sam Levitt is better than Payne Thorne.
Sam Levitt.
1,000%.
That's just 100% lie. Did you watch Saturday's game, Alex? Or were you too busy watching soccer in Houston?
That's just not even. That's just mean, Evan.
Oh, feels bad.
Did I watch the Michigan State football game Saturday? Yes.
Yes.
Sam Levitt is better than Payne.
I did not.
You're high on drugs.
What did Sam Levitt do that made you think that he played 7 snaps?
My point exactly. He played 7 snaps.
You know why he played 7 snaps? Because we have coaching malpractice at offensive coordinator Jay Johnson.
I've been playing this for almost 3 years now. I know that.
Then you know that Sam Levitt is good and should play more.
Ken Hauser didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't watch.
I mean, he didn't do anything that blew me away. I'll tell you that.
Bigger picture college football.
Ooh.
I had thought.
Picture college.
Oklahoma stock has bottomed out. So I'll give you guys the tip of the cap to Texas because that take held strong. I may have won the battle, but you guys won the war. Oklahoma, not very good.
Thanks.
They're very good, but not good enough to make the playoff.
Brad Venables' questionable decisions.
Also crazy that Alan Bowman is winning that game after the jokes
Oklahoma
that he
State
suffered
was
through our
bad
group
in
chat.
the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they're like won 5 games in a row.
Running football, playing complement football.
Alan Bowman, baby.
Good for him.
The Bo Show.
Good for Bo Show.
Be Kansas State and Oklahoma.
My other take was bad news for all of us as college football fans because we did not bury Alabama when we had the chance to, Texas A&M included. They just let them keep surviving games, and Alabama is going to have a real chance to beat Georgia. They might do it, and then they'll be back in the playoff, as we thought. At least
Didn't I say after the Texas game that writing off Alabama would be incredibly dumb?
Probably, and it's a right take because you just never know.
Why would you write off, what Alabama has? Good coaching.
They're basically doing what Michigan tried to do with Denard Robinson, but they have a much better coach than Brady Hoke.
Jalen Milroe also
and they're gonna
like Lamar Jackson without the throwing. So his wheels are something else. I watched that whole game.
Yeah, Denard Robinson.
I guess I had no respect for Denard, so that's bias.
I know. If you gave Denard into Nick
Well,
Saban's
Jalen
hands,
Milroe can definitely
that
throw
team-
further than and a little better than Denard. Denard threw actually wobbly ducks.
Milroe just throws like 40-yard bombs.
Yeah, they're
and
cool,
then if
though. They're flashy.
when they hit, but he's not blowing anyone away with his pass.
No, but he blows people away with his legs. That's impressive.
Right.
Yeah, I want you to apologize to me for something you said to me last week.
I just did for the Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's another thing. You told me that Washington's dream season ends on Saturday, and you were completely wrong. So I want you to admit it.
Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb. I'm not going to fully apologize for that. It's gonna die at some
You
point.
told me it was dead on Saturday before the game even started.
I know.
And I
know.
was very
And
confident that Washington would win, and they did. And you could say it was close, but they kind of hovered around a 7 to 10 point lead for most of the game.
Yeah, no credit to them. They got up for that game, and Caleb Williams just didn't get it done. And neither did his defense, and that guy got fired.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about trends, though, I'm still fully on Oregon's going to win that conference, and then we'll see.
I do think Oregon's really good,
teams.
but Washington beat them. Utah this week for Washington. Tough game.
But it won't matter when they meet in the Pac-12 championship, likely. And then both aren't going to get into the playoff unless some things happen. But if I had to predict right now, I don't think both get in. So it'd be Oregon that would go.
Ask the question we talked about on Saturday for our final big picture thought of college football.
Yes, Evan, Alex. I think I said it, but we were arguing about something else in the chat. But Alex had this. It triggered me. It did because I was like, "There's just no way." So
I asked people at work about this too, just because, to see if I was crazy.
Oh, I know who you probably asked, the Penn State fan. Well, we can use this as a segue to get into the big game that Michigan is actually playing on the field this weekend. And then we'll do NFL after all
get
that.
to play on the field, Grant.
But they're going to shut down the whole program.
You never know.
The question, you never know. Tony Petitti gave a max penalty to the Astros, as we learned last show. And Jim Tressel for the Colts.
Jim Tressel was the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts.
Alex said to me, because I said, Jim Harbaugh will get suspended 2 games. If they lose to Penn State, they'll just beat Ohio State and it won't matter. He says
I was not trolling, by the way, when I said this.
No, he thinks this. If Michigan loses to Penn State, okay, then Michigan wins out. So they beat Ohio State, they win the Big Ten championship. They might miss the playoff.
I'd like to give my reasoning behind it, if I need to.
Let Evan just
there's always there's a chance that they miss the playoffs.
Come on.
There is, Grant, because, for one, you never say never. That's just dumb. That's how you get into trouble. And that's what you did. 2,
because they're not on.
I like doing that.
2, they'll have 1 good win total.
Two.
No. Whoever they play in the Big Ten championship game is not a good win.
Penn State's a top 10 team out.
No, you lose to Penn State, buddy. This is a scenario.
That was a fair, buddy. I blinked it out.
So you have 1 good win. You win at home against Ohio State. You're not undefeated. And as we mentioned, there's going to be potentially a 1-loss Pac-12 champion who has multiple good wins because that conference is deep. You have Georgia. You have Alabama if Alabama beats Georgia. So that's 3 teams right there. Ohio State you'd think would be out of this conversation, which is fine. And then you have undefeated Florida State.
But Ohio State's never.
And you have 1-loss Texas. You have 7 teams for 4 spots.
Whoever wins the Big 12, though, Alex.
Texas, I'm saying. Texas wins the Big 12, 1 loss.
Who else would be?
Let's say Oregon wins the Pac-12, 1 loss. Alabama wins the SEC, 1 loss. Georgia, runner-up SEC, 1 loss. Florida State wins the ACC undefeated. That's 5 teams right there. Also, you have Washington. 1 loss Washington on the cusp at 6.
And you could almost argue Washington more than Michigan solely based off of it. They've already beat the team that they lost to the second time.
And the Pac-12 is deeper. They're stacking more wins than Michigan is. And you can say, well, it's not Michigan's fault. That's their schedule. But I understand. But
I get that.
Strength of schedule, it is one of the factors of the
we
college
always come down to who's going to put asses in seat.
Yes,
and
honestly, I'm not saying they wouldn't put Michigan in. They probably would. But to say there's no chance is absurd when there could be 8 teams with the identical record.
Correct. No chance. No. There would be a solid 35% chance you don't get in.
Like, you would have to sweat that Sunday morning.
Your butthole would be puckered while watching that playoff committee show. Grant, you would be watching it.
Probably. Yeah.
You'd be nervous. You'd be nervous if there's 7 1-loss teams, Grant. One's undefeated, Florida State. You'd be nervous.
It's on ESPN networks. So
it'd be more likely that Georgia would miss the playoff than Michigan would in that case.
And I think they'd give Georgia the benefit of the doubt for losing 1 game in 3 years. And that's not fair, but that's what I feel.
So
I think Michigan gets that same benefit of the doubt because they've been back
over Georgia,
teams.
though.
I think those 2 teams.
They both can't get
over Washington.
So they're going to leave the Pac-12 out again when the Pac-12 actually had finally a good resume for a Michigan team that had one marquee win when Oregon would have gone through the entire Pac-12, which was a gauntlet.
It would certainly all depend on how far these teams fall.
Where's Texas
in the rankings? Like, how far would Michigan
win over Alabama and winning the Big 12? Right.
Where is Texas? It's a good question too.
Florida State undefeated. Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Ohio State.
Grant, you need Florida State to lose 1 game and still win the.
You would be
a good thing.
Like, I don't think you would have great. You would have okay odds. I'd say it'd be easily 50-50. Like, you could miss, and that's just something that you need to understand. Not that it's even going to happen.
Yeah.
But same thing. If you lose to Ohio State, you're not making the playoff.
Yeah, if you're not going to the Big Ten championship game, I'm kissing the playoff goodbye, even though Ohio State backdoored their way in last year, which they should.
Like this year, I don't. Big Ten's not getting 2 teams in this year. There's no way.
I agree.
Although Ohio State might have an argument if they only lost to Michigan because they got a couple of wins.
No, they don't, though. That's what's deteriorating.
Yeah,
Notre Dame
lost,
bullshit. They're not good.
It's fair.
Well, they're good, but they're not.
It's still better than anyone Michigan has right now. That's unfortunate, but
yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, the non-conference one game against a
So are you willing
Notre
to
Dame
admit
level
the
team
no
would have been
chance was immature?
No, I still stand by there's no chance. Like, they will make it if that's the case. I'm just more writing off that case will never happen because they never seem to happen like that.
Agreed. Most teams butt pucker and they lose week 12 to someone shitty, or USC last year.
Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game.
Whiffed on Texas.
I was teams blow it all the
so
time.
hard.
The schedule is all. My only point was the schedule could come back to bite them, which would be fine.
Yeah, it could. You never
It'd be
know.
Wart's fault.
It'd be crazy to think that buying UCLA out of a contract would result in missing the college football playoff in 2023.
That'd be a good win. That'd be a good ranked win.
They're not ranked anymore, but at the time it would be a good ranked.
What we need to focus on for a couple minutes here is this game. We're not a big preview show, but when it's a big game that you field in your plums, you got to talk about it a little bit. It's an intriguing game. I know. I want to say this. I understand that I got on here and I was like, after seeing Penn State play Ohio State, I feel so confident. I do feel confident in Michigan winning, but the confidence has gone down a little bit. I do think that's too overreactionary to what I saw drinking at a tailgate where they scored 6 points. They're a better team than that. Drew Aller looks really good. I've watched the highlights of him against Maryland. He's looked as sharp as he has. I knew he'd bounce back because I liked how he took accountability.
Breaking news:
he played against Ohio State.
Maryland is not a serious football program. Never will be.
About freaking time you noticed that, Alex.
What do you mean? I tell you guys every single week.
I still think they're pesky.
They're not, dude. They are not. They haven't even won since they beat Michigan State. They haven't won a game.
Their coaching staff has let Talia down.
Won a game.
They have talent, though.
Since they beat us. They haven't won a football game, dude. They lost to Northwestern. And they gave up 30-plus to Northwestern.
What we really need to dial it on.
We're not a serious
stakes of this game
now either.
Grant's trying to talk, dude.
We're talking about Northwestern.
I just want everyone to grasp the ramifications for the country with this game. If Michigan loses this game, there's a real chance that Penn's
went through it.
No,
Michigan's out of the playoff if they lose.
No. What it means, though, is that Penn State is likely going to the playoff, which is disgusting for the country to have to watch around New Year's Eve. I know it's not New Year's Eve, but that's gross.
Spartans are going to handle business in Detroit. Penn State will get the tiebreaker.
Yes, I did. I did some digging today. It's close because the Big Ten West is so shitty, and they all have about the same record. But it's Big Ten West tiebreaker record of teams you played, and right now, I believe their opponents have one more win than Ohio State and Michigan. So it's going to be tight. See how things unfold in the Big Ten West.
Northwestern being good is huge for Penn State.
Purdue being terrible is hurting Michigan. Purdue is
they're the worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They don't have a Power 5 win yet, I don't think.
Grant, you can go to the game for only $135. It's pretty cheap.
At Penn State?
Yeah.
That is cheap. That's embarrassing.
Noon game. It's unfortunate.
So it really feels like deja vu. I was looking at last year's schedule. You hear the talks from the talking heads. We don't know how good Michigan is, which is fair. I get you have to say that. But last year, Michigan had played nobody. They hosted Penn State. I was on a flight to Miami, and they just absolutely dusted Penn State in front of everyone. Alex is throwing
I mean, I don't think anyone's saying, is Michigan good? That is not a narrative that's been thrown around this year. Everyone says Michigan's good, and I've watched on multiple broadcasts before the game that these announcer people just saying, quote, and I'm direct quoting here, I know Michigan hasn't played anybody, but damn, they're a really good football team. Blah, blah, blah. They say that on College Game Day or Big Noon Kickoff every single week. So don't give me the people don't know if Michigan's good. That's not true.
I can only speak on what I hear. I listen to some shows. They're saying we don't know how good Michigan is yet.
Name the people.
The late pick with Josh Pate. cover
invalid.
3 podcasts with Fornelli and Bud Elliott.
Not
and
great.
Those people know ball. What do you mean? They're like the highest media people in the sport besides like the losers. Like they know ball. They
Okay,
watch
so
it.
4
They're
people.
saying well-respected people that are just and they're not saying they're bad. They're just saying we're going to find out how good they really are, which is totally fair to say.
Okay, but compared to last year people were actually saying we don't know if Michigan is good. People are not saying we don't know if Michigan's good. They're saying we don't know how good they are. We know they're good.
Correct.
But are they next level good? Are they Georgia good? That's the question.
You know,
you're just making narratives to get a extra juice. I get that and I respect it.
No, I said we don't know how good they are, and you just threw a tizzy.
Well, because I watch people tell me how good they are every week.
Yeah, Todd Blackledge. Like what? That's
College
not
game day.
Anniversary.
Desmond Howard.
RG3.
Dan
I think
Orlovsky.
we all know that the Josh Pates of the world
Don't say his
and
name
the
out.
Bud Elliots and the Tom Fornellis that live in, and Andy Staples who live and breathe the sport know more than Desmond Howard and Dan Orlovsky when it comes to college football.
So you do admit Desmond Howard's an idiot.
Yes, I've never defended him.
Thank you. Just
I'm sure we
getting
could
that
go
out there.
back in the 26 years of our lives, and I'm sure you've defended Desmond at least once.
No, because I've never watched him play football, so I don't have that
Dude, he was
connection
on
to
the
him.
NCAA cover.
He is a great player. That doesn't mean he should be on the show.
Yeah, he should not be on the show and he can't his ass.
Do you guys have any big thoughts about this game as two Big Ten fans? Any leans you have as we sit here on Tuesday?
I do have one.
He leans.
James Franklin's not a football coach.
James Franklin is an overrated football coach.
So you have that advantage.
Penn State can't really run the ball as they were supposed to this year.
They have good running backs, Evan.
They really can't really run the ball that well.
I know. I
gotta check this.
so
I hate to do it to you. I gotta stat check this. I feel like I was looking at stuff that said they are good.
the media blows their load about how great Penn State's running backs are and how good they are running the
With
ball.
how good their running backs are, they don't
Pulling
really
it up.
run the ball that well.
I can't
No,
say
he's
I really
correct.
watched
Evan
that
is
much
correct.
Penn State.
Neither team does. Neither team runs it well. Penn State is 70th in the country, and Michigan's 85th.
Yeah, Michigan can't run the ball this year. That is
Penn
weird.
State is holding their, I think defensively, Penn State's holding their opponents to like averaging under 3 yards per carry. That's what kept them in the Ohio State game. But also Ohio
Second
State
best rush defense in the country to back you
So
up.
Michigan
there, yes.
will struggle on the ground.
Potentially.
I think Michigan's kind of struggled all year on the ground more than they have in the past. But also they don't really need to go to the ground. But JJ McCarthy's better than Joe Aller right now. That's just the way it is. It's just a matter of fact, how much is Penn State's defense going to be able to hold up? They have this great defense, supposedly everybody says. First round pick on the defensive line at home. I just don't know if that's enough to get past Michigan.
I have a question for you, Evan.
I think JJ McCarthy is just that much better than everybody on the field when he's out there.
I have a question for you specifically, Evan.
I have an
Thanks, Evan.
answer.
That was actually really
Do
nice
you
to say
think
about
that
it.
Michigan State's run defense is good?
Is good.
Yeah, no bullshit. Do you think they're good?
I think it's above average. I don't know what we're stats, but I think that's one thing that we can.
Michigan's
rely on.
lowest yards per carry this season was against Michigan State's average to mediocre rush defense.
But also, this is what I do, like pound the table for like stats, but I also don't pound the table for stats because you got to realize game situations.
They just
that
threw the ball
Michigan
1,000 times.
threw the ball 50 times, and JJ could have gone 45 for 50 on that game if they really wanted to and never ran the ball.
And that leads
they
me
would
to my
still
point.
won 45.
I think that's what they'll do against Penn State. I think they'll just throw the ball over the yard. I don't even think they'll even try to run. They don't care to run. They don't need to. JJ's good
They
enough
will
to not.
try, but it won't be. They'll try to get the Blake Corum rush, and then they'll realize. I would say this: Harbaugh's not as stubborn anymore because his hand's not in the playbook. He won't stick with the run now. They'll
If he did,
Like,
that's
hey,
how they'd
Jim,
get some
they
losses.
do this. Correct.
Could have kept Michigan State in the game for at least one full quarter if Jim would have been
Two
his
thing
old
I
stubborn
am
self.
interested in watching. The one matchup I am watching is Roman Wilson versus King for Penn State. He's supposed to be a first round pick. Basically, Michigan's only wide receiver they have is Roman Wilson. Now, they do use their tight ends all the time. Granted to them, that's their offense. But if you shut down Roman Wilson, it's kind of like I can live with the tight ends kind of catching passes because they're not going to run away from me. I eventually will tackle him 15, 20 yards on the field and make him go the long journey. But if you get Roman Wilson hot and going, he's going to outrun everybody. So I think that's the matchup that I want to watch the most is who's covering Roman Wilson, and is it Penn State's top talent in King?
Detroit product too.
Detroit product.
On the other side of the ball, Evan, that leads me to my thought. Penn State's most explosive offensive skill player is Nick Lambert-Smith, number 1 for them. He's kind of like the next iteration of the Penn State star
John Dotson.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's projected to go, but he is the key guy for them. And will Johnson draw him, or are they going to just play by their rules and will Josh Wallace cover him? So that matchup I'm looking at, Penn State's tight ends do not scare me they usually have a solid one, but they don't scare me as much as Michigan. So I think they win that battle. I lean more towards the Evan camp that Jim and the staff will try to be stubborn, at least out the gate, about running because of what they did to Penn State last year. They absolutely humiliated them and ran for over 200 yards when it was to believe that Penn State had a great rushing defense. So I think they're going to try to break their will that way, but they will abandon it and they will just throw the ball around the yard, which I do think, obviously you want to respect the run, but I do think Michigan advantage of just maybe it's even JJ running. Maybe it's him making plays out of the pocket is the way to beat Penn State. That's how I see them advancing the ball on their defense. But really the key is just going to come down to Drew Aller. And that's really what I think this game comes down to is does he grow from the Ohio State game that was on the road in his first ever big game and he looks better and comfortable at home? Because he looked good against Maryland. He was throwing darts in tight windows.
To be good.
And he does, and he's fast too. He can run, and Michigan will struggle with running quarterbacks, kind of like the Lions. If things break down, they're not great with that because they don't have lightning linebacker speed. So I am nervous about that. I think Michigan's run defense should hold pretty firm. It's just going to come down to field position too. I know that's really boring, but Penn State is like really high in the country in positive field position when they start, which has helped them a lot. So don't be afraid to punt it from the 50-yard line and pin Penn State deep on the 3. That's an easy way to get a stop and then score points. I know it's boring Brian Ferentz football, but I think this game's going to trend towards that way. It feels like one of those games where I always get nervous saying this because it could easily backfire, but I don't think it can in this case. I think it's either a tight Penn State win, if they're going to win, or Michigan's going to blow them out. Michigan could win close as well, but I'm saying I can't see Penn State blowing out Michigan based on their offense. That would break my brain.
I'm comfortable saying that I'm pretty confident it's not going to be a blowout. Like Michigan may win by like 14, but it's not going to be last year's game. Like that's not going to happen. I'm pretty confident saying that's not going to happen. I'd like to think Michigan or Penn State's got this game circled. I think they learned from their Ohio State game. I agree their offense is not as bad as it played. And I also think Ohio State's defense deserves more credit than they probably get. They're legit. Ultimately, I don't know if Penn State's weapons, though, are enough. Because I know, like Evan said, JJ is good. And he's better than right now he's better than Aller. Aller could be really good in a year or two, who knows. But I think JJ's versatility running the football is going to be a factor, and I think Penn State will just eventually get worn down. I don't see a blowout for either team, and Penn State has no chance of blowing Michigan out. I agree with you there. They don't have the firepower for that.
And I will say, turnover battles are obviously key in these games that might be tight. I was looking at Drew Aller's stats. Surprisingly, he's only thrown 1 interception this year. So I think that's a huge thing.
He had the longest streak of passes in FBS history without an interception. He's thrown 1 interception ever in college.
Wow. And that's something Michigan's defense has been great at. They seem to average at least 1 per game in the last couple games that I've watched. So I would expect them to get 1, and that would be huge for them. But at the same time, if you're a Michigan fan, when you're trying to mitigate disaster, McCarthy's so far the more likely quarterback to make blunders.
Humble boy.
If Michigan loses, how does that happen? Probably McCarthy threw 2 picks and gave Penn State short field. Like that's not out of the question of how they would lose this game. If you think back to last year, that's how the game started. There was 2 fluke plays and Michigan was down 14-0 or whatever. Like they were dominating the yards game and then they just gave up a bunch of points on pick 6 or whatever it was. So
must-win meter.
Just take care of the football. That's all the way up.
It's 100%.
Fire if loss. Nice.
Oh,
No.
That's the
it's,
highest our meter goes.
Well, because of my confidence in the playoff, I think it's a 90% because you can still lose this game, beat Ohio State. You control your destiny, and you'll be good.
And then an extra tidbit. % chance you lose the football game.
Oh, wait. If Michigan loses this game, actually, they wouldn't control their destiny then because even if they beat Ohio State, it's still a 3-way tie.
Yeah. Yeah, Michigan would lose the chance of controlling destiny. Ohio State would be the only team in control
100%.
at that point. And
Yeah, it's 100% then. Damn.
% chance you lose.
Big game. % chance you lose?
Near
Good question. I think if you played this
10
game
times.
10 times, you lose it 3 times. So 70% chance to win.
Evan? Unbiased opinion?
% chance they
arguably more biased opinion.
lose. Ooh, more biased. Ooh. ESPN's giving Michigan a 49% chance to win. Penn State a 50. It's like
Good whistle attempt there, Grant.
I give Michigan. I'm a little bit below Grant. I think Michigan's overall better. Now, this all predictions could come crashing down in belief based off of what happens tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. We're
Damn,
changing
Harbaugh might get
percentages
suspended.
live.
I would say 63% chance to win. Slightly below Grant's.
Yeah, I'd say Michigan and Penn State would win out of 10 times at home, probably like 4
I
out of
just
10.
don't trust James Franklin to do anything smart in a close game.
3.5 to 4 out of 10.
It'll be a trick play.
I do think
trick play on both
the
sides.
problem is that James Franklin will just have some massive like he always does. And you'd be like, shit, maybe next year. Another mediocre
To that
10-win
point,
Penn
Alex.
State season. When they lose at Ford Field to Michigan State. Don't you worry, Grant.
I would say
you
no.
control your own destiny. We'll take care of business for you.
That's right. Alex, what's your favorite stat or metric you like to look at for comparing college football teams in games?
It's not my favorite, but I know what you're talking about, I'm guessing.
What is it?
I don't know. What is it, Grant? You tell me. That's
Team
what
talent
I didn't want to say it.
You love that.
I do think it
And guess what?
it
Penn State's better on paper, talent-wise. They have a more talented roster. than
what
Michigan.
I've realized
Second
is
in the
that
Big Ten.
Best
you know what
defensive
the
end.
talent composite doesn't account for.
Coaching.
No. Well, yes, but
Oh, coach talent.
Coach talent. There needs to be a coach talent composite score.
maturity. It doesn't account for maturity because
Right, because you have five-star freshmen.
5-star
that are
freshmen aren't even
contributing.
doing shit. So it's not really.
Right. Except for Will Johnson last year. He was doing
It matters
shit.
for
38 degrees in Happy Valley during kickoff. Ooh, burr.
Yes.
38
Yes,
partly
it's Big Ten
sunny.
football. I cannot wait for this game.
I'm
this
excited
is the
to
most
watch
fired up
Michigan
I've been.
because I
I
haven't
have
seen
to
them play
work
anybody
Saturday
good.
morning. I'm even going to be like, I don't even know.
Exciting.
I'm
I'm really
I'm
excited.
pretty
My
sure I'm
football
going to miss
season starts
kickoff.
tomorrow.
If they
For college
lose,
football.
will you admit that Jim knew about Connor Stallions?
Oh,
No, that doesn't change.
I think we
Aw.
should make a live bet.
That'd be lying.
You have to
the
drink a
public.
gallon of milk and run a mile if they lose. I have to do nothing because my team's not
No,
involved.
because it's only a 70% chance to win. They could lose.
They actually only have a 49% chance to win.
ESPN lies.
No, they're not lying. That's just a computer bot.
Lies.
What? No, Michigan State, Ohio State
All right.
preview? 31-point spread. I think Michigan State covers.
I didn't think you guys would want to talk about it. All right, you're
I
there
don't want
first.
to talk about
I
it.
think we lose
No, I don't
31
really either.
to 3. So we cover.
I've replaced the games with like the coaching search because I think that's more enjoyable for you guys to
Yeah,
talk
it's
about.
not because Evan just thinks Brian Hartline's
not.
the only answer.
You guys get in a fight every time, and I like
You
it.
think old, washed-up coaches that can't win.
Name someone
not
besides Brian Hartline for the people, Evan. You have to give at least one other option.
Why?
Because what if Brian Hartline said no?
Well, your whole fan base wants Urban or nobody, so he's just
Yeah,
doing
what
the
if
same
Lance
thing, but for
Staples
Brian
says no?
Hartline.
I'm just saying, can you give
Well, why would he say no? Michigan State's just so
can
good.
you just give one other person so that we at least know what you're thinking besides some shiny toy that's never been unveiled
Oh, so you do admit he is a shiny
in
toy.
your head, not in mine.
That's a
So you
win.
do admit
I admit that you love him.
I'll clip that.
Yes, I will admit that. You have a weird obsession with him,
Yeah.
and it brings you
Ben
happiness.
Johnson, Alex. There you go.
You're not serious,
Sharon Moore.
Evan. Christ. I just want to know what you
balance.
actually think about coaches that are reasonable to obtain, and you just can't give one person.
Oh, Grant, bye. Lane Kiffin.
All right, I can live with that.
Did I leave?
Yeah, I don't see your face anymore.
I can see you, Grant.
Oh. We can
Lane
hear me.
Kiffin, I can live with that.
I can hear you.
Let's get on the Lane train.
Dabo Sweeney.
We said realistic, Evan. Lane Kiffin's not even
Dabo
realistic.
Sweeney is actually realistic. People might want him
He kind
fired
of
from
said
Clemson.
he kind of said he wasn't leaving after they beat Notre Dame, but they could fire him. But I don't think they will. He won natties. He
Clemson
can't
would be
leave.
the dumbest program of all time if they fired him.
I want...
Any NFL head guys? Anyone?
He likes Cliff. He likes attractive offensive
Cliff Kingsbury
coordinator
would be nice.
minds. Lincoln Riley.
I'll take Lincoln Riley.
What about like?
I'm not saying he would go to that. I'm just saying
I want Jason Campbell.
I was going to say,
That's
what
I
about
want.
him?
I'll
Hell
take
yeah.
him.
Could talk myself into
Nick
it.
Saban was a MAC coach. Nick Saban coached at Toledo.
I don't love Jason
Coached,
Campbell, but
Kevin Megger. Coached Kevin Megger at Toledo Rockets.
I know where Nick Saban coached.
Yeah, there's really not that many good options.
Well, I never got to give my
Yet.
one stat about the coaching search that either will discourage you or make you feel better.
Program's
what is it?
given,
Since
it's over.
2019, I believe, excluding the Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley hires. So take those out because those were just
Every coach has a winning record when they got hired.
oh,
That's
Jesus
bullshit.
Christ, Evan. Let's not be ridiculous. Power 5
Chip Kelly, Alex.
openings, like teams that are hiring, that Power 5 teams that are hiring.
We've gone through it twice in 4 years.
Yeah, Evan, I said this stat will either discourage you or encourage you, or you won't even
Fuck this.
care. Power 5 openings
Fucking
since
shit
2019,
anymore.
besides Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly, there's been a Power 5 school has not poached another Power 5 coach. So that they've got, I guess I should say Power 5 head coach. I mean, they've gotten like Power 5 coordinators to go to, well, whatever.
So Lance ain't coming.
So Lance Leopold, Mike Elko, Jonathan Smith. If they were to get one of those guys, that would be slightly unprecedented.
Asterisk to your stat. Doesn't matter. I'm just being. But Luke Fickell was going to the Big 12.
Okay. Sure.
I just want to be a shithead. I get your point.
So it's either going to be like, we're not going to get anyone exciting. But then that also tells you
That is
every
interesting.
year, Evan, is the coaching pool that great, that can't miss.
So you can't even acquire Pat Narduzzi if you wanted. You wouldn't leave a Power 5 job.
He's about to get fired. He's 2-7.
His record at
So
Pitt
you
is
can acquire
terrible.
him.
They've never won anything there.
You guys should take Shiano. That would be electric.
I would not watch. I would watch. I'm lying, but I would not want to because that would suck.
Anybody that I want. There's like
That's my thing, though.
Or you
There's
get-
no one that you want, but like this is every year's. Like you didn't want Mel Tucker.
Dude, you got to dig deep. I was ready. You guys need to lower your standards. I was ready to take Jamie Chadwell after Harbaugh went to the NFL.
Jamie Chadwell.
yeah, I'm
give me
willing to
Coastal.
take Jason Campbell. I'm willing to take Matt Campbell.
Perfect.
Oh,
All right.
you were
Yeah,
good
take
with
Jason
Matt Campbell.
Yes, dude. There's literally no there. Matt Campbell's a better candidate than Lance.
Wow. They play soon, don't they?
They just did.
Play
Or
Kansas
did they
won.
just play?
Big for
Kansas won.
Lance.
Tough for your argument.
Yeah, but I'm saying Matt Campbell like also made it to the Big 12 championship.
But Evan, we reached out to Matt
Yes,
Campbell
he's
when
gone
we
to Big
hired
12
Mel Tucker,
championship.
and Matt Campbell
Mark
talked
Purdy.
mad shit about our program. You still want that guy?
yeah,
He said we were garbage and he would never coach there, and now he wants to come because he doesn't like Iowa State.
Oh,
anymore.
sure. You gotta
No
send
shit.
the link, Alex. That's a big accusation.
It is a big accusation. I'll give you that. But he now wants our job, and we're not. We don't want him. So
Jason Candle,
Jason Candle not on the list.
Matt Campbell, Brian
Oh,
Hartline.
Dana Holgram.
Ew, dude, he's gonna get fired from Houston.
That'd be electric.
Sonny Dykes.
He's old.
Who's Air Force's coach? You take Air
He's been
Force's
there a long
coach,
time,
dude.
and they just lost
to
Army.
Army.
Or James Madison.
They
James,
just-
James Madison's coach also like 63 years old.
Who
Evan.
cares? Tom Izzo's 70.
Yeah, but you can't start at a power. You can't go from James Madison to a power 5. Come on. They've been in the FBS for one whole year.
That was ignorant. You can talk about age, but that's ignorant. They would kick a lot of teams' ass. He's a good coach, whoever he is.
Yeah, but I don't want him. That's that simple.
You know how hard it is to get bumped up a division and then you're top 25 your first year? That's insane.
Alex, do you have the receipts of who was on my original wish list?
If I just type in Brian Hartline, I could probably find it.
Oh, there's
we got to get to
Brian
NFL at some point, though.
We do need to go over this. I need to know who Evan wants because he's been skirting the question with Brian Hartline answers for weeks.
Oh, couldn't find it.
1A. I got him
until it hits him
and
in
it
the head.
is a yucky list. Number 1.
Brian Jack Hartline.
Number 1, Jim Leonard. Unemployed. I believe he's unemployed.
Huh?
Or he's a quality control assistant in Illinois.
Yep.
David Shaw, unemployed.
Oh?
No,
dude, that would be
you cannot
so
take
bad.
David Shaw. He sucks.
I would take David Shaw.
He can't
Dude,
recruit.
It'd be so bad.
He's never recruited without academic restrictions.
Evan, I'm trying to help you.
Dude, we don't want David Shaw.
I would take David Shaw.
3,
Pat Fitzgerald.
Tommy Reese.
Oh,
Yeah,
bad one on that Sunday morning.
Brian Hartline. And then you responded after that and said 1A, Brian Hartline. Then you said Drew Stanton.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in my bag.
And at one point, you liked Jake Dickert because you liked his name.
Yeah. Can you imagine being our coach's Dickert?
No, I don't want any more jokes personally, but.
Oh, come on.
And I'll be honest, as a friend, your list, I don't love it.
It was stinky.
I don't love
It's
my
a
own
stinky
list. I don't love my own list. I'd be 100% honest.
I need to look at the date of that. So
We might need an update tomorrow morning from you after you sleep on it.
I'm going to have to give a new update. I'm going to have to do a deep dive and research of who I want.
that was sent on September 10th, so that was early in the
That was
season.
literally the day after. That was literally the
Boy,
day
is
after.
that a poopy list.
No, that was Sunday
Pat
morning.
Fitzgerald
Alex.
Evans list, he says.
Pat Fitzgerald. He didn't know.
Bill O'Brien
Maybe
might as
somebody
well
else
be on
didn't
your
know
list
what
too,
was going
Evan.
Actually, you like
I don't
it,
mind him.
Alex.
I'll be honest.
on. I do not want him. Well, he's be out of a
Better
job.
than David Shaw. Now we can move on, Brandon.
All right. NFL, big picture. The only thing I really want to get off my chest, Arthur Smith needs to be fired. Hate talking to the man's job, but he's just a buffoon. Baltimore kicking Seattle's butt made me feel better about the Lions in a
Lamar
weird way.
is so good against the NFC.
Because
Eventually, Evan's going to
Lamar
have to
owns the
sing
NFC.
Lamar's praises. We'll get him to eventually.
when he hoisted Lombardi, I think he'll admit it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Will not win.
CJ Stroud
So
validation feels good.
So
we were
good.
on him pre-draft.
Ohio State wasted him.
Stroud boys.
Can't believe they didn't win a title with him. Actually, reliable Ruggles
Pretty
ruined
crazy.
CJ Stroud's career.
Yeah.
They would have won.
Easy. The Bengals, they broke the best win little theory we had going on because they had the best win against the Niners last week and they handled the business against the Bills. And they're kind of sticking it to you, Alex, because you were quick to write them off. They are looking really
Joe
good.
Burrow has always been my guy.
Hemi. He's got his calf. His calf is back now,
Yep.
so he's good.
Healthy Joe Burrow. I was writing off unhealthy Joe Burrow. That's what I was writing off.
Convenient to say
Good
now.
for Cincinnati. Did you know, fun facts?
Yeah,
My big
that-
picture thought the entire AFC North would be in the playoffs right now. I think the
Something.
Bengals are in last.
I'm starting to get nervous. The Eagles aren't going to fumble the 1 seed. And they're going to keep winning games by like 3 points.
No, they have to lose.
It's a brutal
They're
stretch
gonna
coming
lose.
up.
They're gonna
But
lose at least one
We
game.
need some losses because we need the 1 seed to advance to our goals of the Super Bowl.
Our goals, if we look back at our
Speaking of
goals, I
that-
don't think that's what we said. But things change.
No. We went from like
Win a playoff
one
game.
playoff game
Let's win the Super Bowl.
to winning the NFC as a whole after we beat the Chiefs. It was just one game without Travis Kelce. And I was like, yep, NFC's ours.
Not wrong.
Let's get into our awards. We'll go one at a time down. Evan, would you like to start with the offensive MVP for the Detroit Lions as us start through the season?
Oh, offensive MVP. It's going to be my guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That was mine too.
That's not mine.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not that he might not be the most sexiest stats. He's not having the best year. He's only had 2 touchdowns on the year. However, passing game, he drives the bus. Just always gets open. Sure hands. I think without him, you can kind of see where our offensive is a little more stagnant. And he's super underappreciated, like we hinted on either last week or a couple of weeks ago, how not really that many people
The NFL sleeps on him hard.
outside of like the NFC North really know who he is, unless you're a diehard football fan. So my MVP is Amon-Ra St. Brown, offensive MVP. There's other people more deserving, but I think he drives the bus offensively.
Alex, who's yours?
The bus driver himself, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
All right. It's hard to disagree with
I
that.
just think like if
'Cause
we
he is the
threw
quarterback.
in like a Derek Carr or like someone shitty like that, like we would not be good. Like Jared is doing things that are impressive. And yes, Amon-Ra gets open a lot, but Jared's hitting them in stride usually. They have an unbelievable connection. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
no, that was
Hell
a
yeah,
worthy,
Alex.
unbelievable.
Crazy.
I was going to say David Montgomery, but he
All
hasn't
right.
played enough.
I want to start defensive MVP because I love my pick. It's the shock value in your face. It's Alex Anzalone. He's the defensive MVP of this
No
football
shock
team
value
through
there.
halfway through the season. Why?
Because everyone's been blowing their load over him for a month.
But if you had said that before the season, you would have been laughed off the show. We were trying to trade him or like draft up his replacement, but
You
he's been
were.
our stalwart on the defense. You
No,
were.
I've always been an Alex supporter.
Evan was.
I'm kidding.
No. All right, Evan, who's your D MVP?
Defensive MVP. Oh, God.
Evan's thinking.
You
like
came
he
up with the
knows
questions.
categories.
Evan. You should have answers.
No, I know, but I don't want to say a guy
goes,
and then Alex will be like, dude, you can't use.
You can
can't
say anybody
that.
you
Can't
want.
say that.
You can say
Anyone I want.
Aaron Glenn if you want. Fine.
That's my guy. I'm gonna say Aaron Glenn for fixing the
Oh,
defensive
actually?
line. Yes, for fixing the run game. Not so much the pass rush. Pass rush is still
okay.
poo-poo. But the run game, now, instead of everybody doing whatever they want, now they at least have to throw the ball on us. So I would say
right.
him, Aaron Glenn, fixing the run game. We're, I think, pretty sure last time I knew we were top 5 in run game. Run defense. I don't know how much that changed after the Ravens game. But Aaron Glenn fixing the run game.
I'll go Cam Sutton for locking one side of the field down. It's pretty nice to have. And I don't think we notice it because no one throws the ball at him. They tried to a little bit, Devontae, sorry, Jimmy G is really shitty, but still helps my argument. Hasn't given up much this year at all. And that's helpful. Especially since we used to have Jeff Okuda. Bad football player.
Good pick. Good pick.
And Jeff Okuda decapitated KJ Osborne this week. So
I didn't know who that was, but I did see the hit. I didn't pay attention close enough. That's crazy. Alex, you lead us off for Rookie of the Year for the Detroit Lions.
Brian Branch. Pretty hard to argue. I love Gibbs, but Branch is a game changer.
Well, I got an argument for you. It's Sam Laporta, and I think that's hard.
They're all good
because he's been the most steady, and he's made the impact in the most consecutive amount of games for his team. And he's really never, maybe one down game, maybe, but he's always healthy. He's out there. He makes big catches. He's very reliable.
He's a good football player.
Sam Laporta.
We're blessed with good rookies. Shout out Brad Holmes. Whoever. I looked back at the draft text the other day. Someone here was cursing the name of our first 4 draft picks, but turned out okay.
So they better start. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't say who said it, Evan.
But
I just said someone was saying that they were bad picks.
I said they better start.
Don't toe out.
Half the games, Gibbs did not start and Campbell did not start. So
Campbell still doesn't
my
start.
Rookie of the Year also was Sam Laporta for all the facts that Grant said. Eases up the offense, makes everything easier for Ben Johnson calling plays and for Jared Goff.
Hell yeah.
Hey, there's something different for when Sam Laporta catches a pass and then instead of like Brock Wright.
Oh, no one's disputing that Sam Laporta's really good. Brock Wright, he does his best. He's no Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta better than ever.
Like just like visually appealing. He's a visually appealing tight end. He looks so coordinated when he catches the football. When it's Brock Wright, you think he's going.
I said he was Travis Kelce and George Kittle preseason.
Like they made love.
They made love, and Sam Laporta popped out at 6'7" or whatever, 6'5".
Expressionless face, even though he
talks a lot of shit.
Apparently. Evan, I'll let you start for comeback. Was this comeback player of the year, or was this like comeback in a game?
However you wanted to determine.
But there's only one answer then. Why does Evan get to go first?
We say it on 3, the comeback player of the year.
Oof. Now I might feel dumb.
Actually, I actually just thought of one that could be a sneaky one.
Okay. Evan, your category, you first.
All right, I'm going to say the elf.
I could say one that could be a sneaky one that you don't really think
Doesn't have to be sneaky. Just say what you want.
Okay.
I'm going to say David Montgomery. Not
Does
so
that
much
fit
that
the
he didn't do
category?
anything wrong.
Because he was injured last
He
year?
wasn't even on our team last year. Are we?
However, Alex,
Continue.
he revived his career of finding an offense that actually fits him and a play caller that can actually use his skills.
That's certainly an out-of-the-box
What's the difference between getting... Alex, what's the difference between coming back from an injury or just like...
Well, I thought David Montgomery, I've always thought he was good. So, I didn't think, he was going to come in here.
I thought he was good, but...
I thought he was way better than Jamal Williams.
But he's been top 5 fantasy football good, which is, I know it's not the best, but he's been good to start.
Alex, did you think David Montgomery was going to be that good to start the year?
Probably not that good.
Like backpack.
I knew he was really good
because
he has the run. So
the run,
yeah. Have you seen
the NFL run? The college run belongs to Payton.
Have you seen the run though? The NFL run.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Big Cat Packers.
My comeback player of the year is going to be Tracy Walker. Because he was injured.
That's the pick the first game of mine.
He's come back, and CJ went down, and he stepped in nicely. And he's been very resilient, and he's playing hard. And he still hits really hard. Good for him.
Can't cover.
I'm going to go with
but that's okay. No one really can out there.
Do your job, Tracy. He was my obvious pick. I'm going to go outside the box so we all differentiate. I'm going to go with Riley Patterson, the kicker, who was exiled from our football team because we didn't want him, and now we brought him back, and I think he's only missed 1 or 2 kicks this year, so good for him. And he's been steady.
He missed that 27-yarder against the Raiders, which was gross, but yeah. Ben B, not a fan for some reason. I don't know why.
He's going to hate that pick.
He's missed 2 field goals this year.
He's a comeback player of the year. He could be way worse.
I didn't hate Badger, though. Kind of feel bad for the guy.
Sure. Money Badger was fine. I'll take most exciting player to watch, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Not fair. I'm the original Gibbs gang.
You can take him as well. I just wanted him. He's exciting.
Well, I'm taking him too.
I'm a sicko. I'm saying Jack Campbell. And exciting in a different way because I'm a sicko. Because anytime that I see him on the field, I just stare at him the entire time. I don't even watch the snap. Don't even watch where the ball is. I stare at Jack Campbell.
That's pretty something.
I do that with Hutch sometimes. Stand up.
Oh, I hate watch Hutch a lot of times. I will just watch him most of the time.
Get double teamed and do nothing.
Hey, eyeballs are eyeballs.
Do nothing, and then I scream at the TV telling him to do something, but it's really not his fault because he's getting double teamed and we have 0 pass rush to anybody else. So
Gibbs gang for me for sure.
Who?
Who needs to play more?
I'll go first.
Anyone? Alex?
Jack Campbell.
Oh.
I was thinking I'd like to see him out there a lot more.
Still a little too much Derek Barnes for me. A little too much Rodrigo. Or Rodrigo. He's just not a great linebacker. No wonder our run defense was cheeks with him starting.
I almost wanted to be contrarian, say a off the wall name, but I'm going to stick with the obvious one. I'm going to say JMO. I think you just.
I don't even want to watch him play football anymore.
If he's gonna hurt us by dropping footballs, I think we just need one game where he has 20 drops,
so we can just completely write him off. He looked horrendous in that game.
No,
he was so bad in that football game. Jared threw one up and he can't even track the ball. Sorry, this is not a.
They weren't great throws. It was windy. It wasn't the best. They were down 25. I need a game in a dome where he drops 20 footballs so I can actually write him off, because I can't yet, because I still think he's pretty good. And the Tampa Bay play, as much as he drops the Baltimore one, he caught the Tampa Bay one that really separated and won us the game. So I just need more. It just stretched the field.
There's a reason he's not on the field.
Stretch that field. Evan, who needs to play more?
Williams.
Our entire healthy offensive line needs to play more together.
Oh,
so basically get healthy.
Evan, I feel like you made these questions so you could have out of the box answers that are better than ours.
You could
have said comeback player of the year was the offensive line. You have got answers for everything.
They were good last year. Yeah, who needs to play more? Is the offensive line needs to play more together? We've barely seen that.
They're not playing together because they're injured. I thought the question was playing because our coaching staff is not playing them.
Who needs to play more? It's just an open-ended question.
All right, I'm going out of the box for the next one.
Who needs to play more? Dan Campbell needs to suit up and actually play more.
I think that was the last listed one. I did add one that I thought would be good to ask. What was the most fun win you've watched so far this year for the Lions?
Oh, hands down, Green Bay Packers. Because it is literally beating the crap out of it. In division rival on the road Thursday night. I know the Amazon Prime kind of loses its luster, but primetime standalone game. And you just absolutely, how do I want to say this? Yeah, but it's more humiliate them on their own. They're like, there's no question about it that we are the kings. We are the kings of the division now, and just basically prove how good we are to them.
I have a biased answer. Being in Kansas City for the game was pretty cool. I was in the Chiefs game, so.
I have a biased answer as well. It would not be up there for most people, but the Panthers.
You were at that game.
It was kind of cool. It was cool, but also it was like
what happened in that football.
It was like the first time watching a Lions team that was already good just destroy a team and make them look like they're in a different league, like a JV team. Because the interception that led right to the trickery Sam Laporta play. And you just go up like 21 points. And I was like, oh my God, we're just so good.
They also were the All Blues, and I really love the All Blues. God. Big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice.
Bonus question.
Yeah. So, bonus question.
What do you guys think of the Grays with the blue helmet on Monday Night Football? Better or worse?
Bad combo.
I thought it looked a little better.
Good helmet, bad combo.
It was better than expected. If you just would have cut off all pictures from like midsection or shoulder pads and up, they looked great. Because you had blue. You had blue
on the jerseys was actually not bad.
Blue on the jerseys. Okay. As soon as you got to the pants are straight gray. There's nothing there. There's no blue or anything to accent into like.
The Lions also made the uniform look worse by picking a very bad model.
Aiden Hutchinson.
That doesn't matter about the game.
A pasty white guy in an all gray uniform with your chin straps like hanging off the helmet made it look so much shittier than it actually is. It's still a bad uniform, but I will now say it's not the worst uniform in NFL history, which is what we were saying preseason. Because Jahmyr Gibbs made it look pretty good.
It's the worst uniform in the
this year,
100%.
So far, I can't say I've seen a worse one. Yeah, it's not like it's ugly; it's just goofy.
I mean, there's potential. I still don't love the helmet. It shined well. It's a cool.
It looked good under the lights of an indoor stadium. It would look like shit on a Sunday outside.
They don't put stripes on those grays and the white pants. Like, just put stripes on the side of your pants. To Evan's point, add blue and white in your pants.
Get rid of the gray uniforms in general. That'd be nice.
I think they're gone after this year. I think we're good.
I think they're gone after this year.
So yeah,
I think they're dead.
I don't think we have to
Old-fashioned
go. I
bonus
still don't
function.
like Seattle's neon green uniforms, Grant. There's no way you like those.
Who's?
Seattle's neon green.
But they didn't wear those.
No, I like those.
They wore those
Sicko.
sick throwbacks that were
They
naughty.
still can. They still can. They can wear those green uniforms because they were already grandfathered in.
That's bullshit.
No, like I love when they go all neon with the green pants too. I love.
What are we
It's
wearing
just
on
a big old
Thanksgiving?
highlighter on the field.
Just regular.
Traditional or throwback?
Hopefully, the Thanksgiving classics.
They haven't worn those in
awesome.
5
Those
years.
are sharp. We wore those 2
Just
years ago.
plain colors,
Did we?
gray, blue, gray, no stripes, nothing.
Those are
Yeah.
hot.
We didn't
Need
wear
to
them last year. but
those.
The only time the pants should have no stripes.
They're
I'll agree with
naughty.
that.
Naughty.
When I played with them on Madden, I'd always wear those because I didn't like the home uniforms a couple
Bring
years
back
ago.
the blacks. Could you believe that the
Ugh,
Lions used to have
blacks
black
are the key
face
to my
masks
heart.
for no reason? Like
It's been
permanent
black
black
outlines
face
in
mask is the
2000s.
worst looking sports. At least our uniforms now
There's
are
the
way
old
better
Fords
than
and
those.
the
Those
Millen.
were
That's when
fucking
you were a
terrible.
full-time supporter, Alex.
What?
You were a full-time
Season
supporter
ticket
when they had the black
supporter.
face mask.
My
Yeah.
ass in the seats
saying.
every week. Yeah.
I think we gotta push Pistons and Red Wings to another day.
I have
unfortunately.
one quick comment. Pistons,
Well, we still have one
dog
last
shit.
segment.
Dog shit. Dog shit.
Have been, always will be.
Are you ready to admit that the Trailblazers was a must-win with the schedule coming up?
No, Grant. I'm
There's-
willing to admit
there's
that
no need to
every
watch
game
the
doesn't matter
Pistons.
because we suck again and I'm not watching. And I thank God I didn't pay for Bally shitty sports.
It's just crazy to think that I had this depressing thought in my kitchen the other day that when I was a kid, when I was, 10, no,
Like
I would have
6.
been 3 plus 7 years old. The only thing I would ask every year for Christmas, Pistons tickets.
Never
And I
had one.
remember being so excited getting to go see a regular season game for Christmas to watch them play Dwayne Wade and Shaq for the Miami Heat. What a treat that was. And now I'm at the point where I'm getting text from Evan that number 7 is starting, and I just hammer FanDuel the other team's spread. That's how far the Piston fandom has fallen and how sad it is for those. I feel really bad, too, for the generation just younger than us that doesn't know the going to work Pistons. All they know is an ineptitude, and Blake Griffin is the best Piston they've ever seen.
That
It's
is
just
so
depressing
gross.
times.
That's disgusting.
So depressing.
I got Pistons jerseys
At
3
least
years
we
in
were
a
7.
row when I was a kid. It was awesome. Chauncey, Ben,
They
Rasheed,
consume my life.
3 years in a
I
row.
was Ed Wallace for
Yeah.
Halloween.
I was actually telling people at work I used to
Rip.
dress up on Halloween with an afro, Ben Wallace jersey, and walk. And I was like, and I was not the only one. There was a lot of kids that did that. That's how important. They were the best team we had. Red Wings are good too, but that's crazy.
This sucks. That's how far we've fallen. The coach is just trying to prove a point right now that you have to play better defense. It's stupid.
So is
Just
Monty
let
Williams a
Jane
bad
Ivey play.
coach? Were we wrong for wanting him?
No, I don't think so. I think he's just. We were wrong for making him the highest paid coach in NBA history. Yes,
You were
that
wrong
was
for
stupid.
giving energy and effort into the Pistons this year.
I watched
Wrong,
2
Evan.
games and I
Please
enjoyed
don't.
them. They won one of them.
You're right. It sucks, but I don't want to believe that because I just want them to be competent.
It does suck. It's dark.
Now call me a sicko loser. I'm still holding out hope for when they get like their 5 role players that are out. 1 starter, Bogdanovich is out. He'll start, but the rest, I just want to see what they look like with all of them.
Next category.
Are we still trash?
Red Wings are sick. That's all I'm going to say. They beat
Well,
the
getting
Bruins.
creamed
Huge
by
win.
Down
tonight,
5-0 right now.
According to
Grant.
Wilkins.
It's all right. They beat the Bruins. That's a huge win for them.
They
They
have
showed that
nothing
they
to
belong. Yep. I watched the highlights of the game. It was sick. They scored like 3 goals in a row.
Good news is the Pistons get to play the Bucks tomorrow, so that will go over well.
Warriors yesterday.
And I saved it for
Let's
last.
Get over it.
Bucks, Sixers,
Saved it for
Bulls.
last.
Let's just
for you
get to it
guys.
and get over it.
So we don't have to spend 2 times. Because I saved it for last. I know people will probably be like, oh, lead with the show. No, it's not a big deal. It's a basketball game. James Madison, though, really tough loss for you guys. What are your actual takeaways from it, if anything, or are you just writing it off as like build character, be better in the future?
I think writing it off would be a little. I'll say
It
this.
happened. Get to take it on.
They lost. They got
Chin.
punched in the mouth. They thought they were good. They are good. It's dumb to say that Michigan State's not good. We watched the team go to the Sweet 16 last year. They have more talent this year. They're not a bad basketball team. However, it is the only concern I have is that when your leaders on the team that are older than the Pistons starting five, and my guy AJ Akins, and I know Tyson Walker scored 35, but if Tom is telling me he played like shit, then he played like shit, and that's just what I'm going to believe. So if those three guys plus Malik Hall, God damn it, I can't. We said it last year about Malik Hall. I don't know what Tom's like weird, lovey obsession with Malik is, but it's got to stop. I can't watch it anymore.
I think it's because he can guard multiple positions.
Oh, fine, that's fine.
Most of the time, he does a little thing.
That's fine. He can't go ISO 10 times.
He is a black hole when it comes to offense.
He gets the ball. He does not throw it out. He throws up some absolute dumper shot. He got blocked by James Madison kids over and over again. He needs to understand his role. And that gets my point. These leaders on the team need to get everyone to work together and lead. They need to lead. They're not little kids. They're grown-ass adults. They're our age. There's no excuses for them. And when I watch Cohen Carr and the other, not Xavier Booker, he's got an attitude problem. He needs to get that fixed. But when I watch Cohen Carr just give it his all, and he's just doing everything. He's rebounding, playing defense, throwing cramps down.
Giving his all. He's out of position.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing, but Evan, I can respect that he's giving it his all. And then I'm watching AJ pout, and I'm watching Akins do absolutely diddly dick the whole game. And he's complaining last year.
Well, he was in foul trouble in the first half.
Complaining last year, Evan, that he needs more touches. And then this is what I get against James Madison. Like, we gotta. I don't feel bad for the old players, and I don't mind that they got smacked in the mouth and lost. And I think that overall they'll be fine. They're still going to be really good. And I think that if anything, Tom's just going to, just play the freshmen more until the seniors and juniors can figure out that, we're going to play the correct basketball, not whatever we watched yesterday. Malik Hall better figure it out, or I want him cut. And I will say that. If I watch the black hole anymore,
you're not going to really beat anybody if you shoot 1 for 20 from 3.
Can't get worse.
You miss 14 to 15 free throws. You started the game 1 for 9, I think, 1 for 8 on free throws.
Embarrassing.
Your best player on the team got 35 points, missed 3 free throws down the stretch to basically win the game.
That's why Tom says play like shit.
Take a lead. Yeah.
He also shot like 40 times. Inflated 35.
Well, he's also the only one that could score. So,
Evan, was Joey Hauser the glue guy to this whole operation?
Having Joey would be
think
nice.
of that when I was brushing my teeth. I did think of that when brushing my teeth. Joey Hauser would have hit at least a couple threes. Also, It's funny how the piece of shit Michigan State fans have nobody to blame on the losses now. They're going to have to pick somebody else new because every single loss last year, everybody would point to Joey Hauser.
I would push back a little. AJ takes a lot of hate, and deservedly so. But
Joey Hauser wasn't the grumpy person. Joey Hauser's out there giving it his all and not pounding, yelling at Tom on the sideline like AJ does. Because Michigan State fans were idiots and didn't watch basketball and just blamed Joey Hauser because he had one mistake and everybody would overhype.
I think it's also premature to write the season off after one basketball game. And I don't think James Madison's like the shittiest team ever. Like, there's worse losses you could have taken. And as Evan said, you can't shoot worse. You actually can't do that. It's almost impossible. You're not going to go 1 for 24 every game from 3. And we have watched the AJ experience now for multiple years. He's going to have games
we should have just
where he's incredible.
We weren't expecting it to be the first
and games when he's dog shit. And that is what he's going to do.
In the first game,
he is a roller coaster.
I think that's the biggest gripe with everybody is that like all this shouldn't happen in the first home game of the year.
It shouldn't.
If you come out in prime time and you lay a goose egg against Duke and you lose by 15, 20 points,
we're going to spoiler.
Thank God.
I know.
If that's the case,
it made it worse.
Like we did just lay an egg against Duke, I think everybody would be like, he lost to Duke. Oh, well. But now it happened at home. First November loss for Izzo in his career.
I took so much shit at work today. You have no idea. I was singing Michigan State's praises for a week. I can't wait for basketball season. I even said before I left, Michigan State's never lost in November.
Okay, Alex, I have a question for you.
Spanked right away.
Alex, I have a question for you.
I got an answer.
What would you rather have, scenario A or scenario B? Scenario A, your situation exactly at work. You get razzed on. Or scenario B, you're at a high school doing your job, and every kid that you kind of coach in basketball comes up to you and starts laughing at you because of Michigan State's loss. Which one would you rather
very
have?
similar because that's kind of how it went. Everyone just came up to me today and laughed at me. And like people were like huddling up to like see my reaction. So it was not great. And I was also at a work event last night and watching our team play. And then I was watching Michigan State on my phone. I didn't want to, but I had.
You were awfully quiet.
I had to bring it on. I had to bring on my phone because I was like, I can't miss the ending of this. And so then during our watch party of watching our game, people are looking at me because we had like this private room with like couches and stuff. So I'm sitting there and people across the room are like looking at me, like waiting to see my reactions and like laughing. So it sucked. It wasn't great, but having little kids do it, I would want to punt them. So probably go with yours is worse.
Hey, shout out, Brad. That meme last night actually made me get over the loss that much faster. I was laying there chuckling in bed. Just ha 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 ha.
My final message to Michigan State fans is yes, that sucked, but Jesus Christ, we have gotten so soft. Just take it on the chin and move on.
Was there a moment though where you guys were like dark in your feels, or is it too early in the season to remotely care?
I mean, I cared. I was disappointed, and I told some coworkers that this is a dark spot.
Last night,
I was like, "Yeah, we've hit rock bottom here." I was definitely in my feelings for a few minutes, but seeing how others are reacting made me feel better because I realized that is too much.
Correct. Like, seeing people react on Twitter and realizing, like, I don't have that. I'm not that negative.
Tom Izzo doesn't lose games on purpose, but he's willing to lose games if he has to make a point. Just people remember that.
Bermuda Triangle early this year?
I do think because of this that they will be better for it. They did not need a wake-up call. Let's clarify that. They didn't need this to happen. That's inexcusable.
No, it's a first game.
But they'll be okay. Anybody that's saying the tournament's off and all this other bullshit, you need to chill out.
No. I don't know if it affects the ceiling at all. I don't think so. I will say this, after having gone through, I know the expectations weren't nearly as high, but when Michigan lost to Central, I was like, oh my God, this team's unserious. Like, I did have that thought that night. I was like, well, we're screwed. Like, but granted, again, the talent was lower. And
the talent is way too high for this team to not be good. You just have to get it.
The only question I had
to be the 2011 Michigan State Spartans, Alex.
They had injuries too, though.
And I know it can't get worse. I know it can't. But I did not think about this until I was watching it. I was like, God, the 3-point shooting is going to struggle compared to last year, which it should rebound if Malik Hall can make threes. And you still have Tyson and Akins, who was like 40%. But last year, 3-point shooting was a huge staple of a big part of Michigan State's run, where it was Hauser, Walker, and Akins were all hitting like at an over 40% clip. I just don't know if that's
Akins shot 49%, I think, on the whole entire year. He was like one of the highest 3-point shooters in the country. And Izzo said he's gotten even better in the offseason. Had a bad game. Tyson Walker, we know, can shoot.
I think Akins and Walker can. Obviously, you don't have that third person.
Xavier Booker can hit threes. The kid has to be on the floor to do that, and that means he has to get to practice on time, which apparently he's not doing. And he's got to gain some weight. Like, for God's sakes, he's a string pull.
No, you don't have to in basketball.
Jaron Jackson had big arms.
Good.
That mattered. Colin Carr also is only going to get better, and that dude's a freak.
He's my second favorite.
Also, we need to discuss this. Sissoko probably is not going to be starting by the end of this season.
No, he doesn't. That. I know that.
I think it's
sooner than.
I think it's Carson
Cooper's better. And we also Jackson Kohler eventually is going to have to come back. Sissoko's minutes could dwindle.
I do have a text from a JMU fan.
Oh, Matt.
Cut out, but Matt went there. Oh. Hilarious night in the group chat. He just his takeaway from Michigan State. He just said, "I don't know why Izzo plays poor man's Cassius so much."
Trey Holloman.
That was his analysis.
Yeah,
that's the Izzo prove a point thing. That is what he's doing.
Trey Holloman wouldn't be on the court if I was the coach.
No, he wouldn't. And Trey, what? Trey Holloman does well is he plays really good defense. His offense.
I don't think he plays really good defense.
It's Killian Hayes over Ivy. That's what Tom Izzo's doing to the
I don't think
Michigan
he plays
State.
really good defense at all.
But Grant, do you think that Michigan State is all of a sudden not a Final Four team anymore? Is that your takeaway? Because you are the classic overreact guy,
No,
so I would expect it from you.
Well, you have to know this as the little, puppet master. I'm going to keep the expectations sky high so I can call it a flop if it falls. So it's natty or bust. It's always
Has that changed for you? Is it natty or bust?
Natty or bust? No, I think Big Ten, Final
It's
Four.
Big Ten Final Four bust because if you get to the Final Four, you got a chance to win the natty. We'll talk about matchups then.
Izzo number two.
About your draw.
This is all
You gotta
about
get to the
Izzo
Final
number
Four.
two.
You got to get to Phoenix.
I would also say if you don't host a regional in Detroit, if you will get eliminated from Detroit, this season is an absolute bust. Detroit hosts a
So you have to be the one
Elite 8
seed.
regional championship.
I went through the schedule
So you have to be the one
because
seed.
I started panicking.
You have to be in that.
This does hurt the one seed.
Let me
Like,
answer
be in
resume when it
I looked
eventually
at the
comes
schedule
out.
because I was thinking, is our seeding? Are we in trouble?
Game one.
Because I was like, because
crazy.
we're gonna
But
take
it's
some
fair.
losses because we're gonna play Duke, we're gonna play Arizona, we're gonna play Baylor, we're gonna lose some games.
at Purdue.
Right. But I looked at our schedule; it's reasonably favorable, and I came up to the total that we're going like 20, 25, and 6. So we're gonna be fine. Play Purdue
All right,
only
you
once.
heard
You
it
play
here
Ohio
first.
State only once at home.
Skip all the way through March. Skip all the way through March.
Baylor's in
25 and 6,
Detroit,
I'll
so you
take
got to
it.
win that game.
Do you-
I chalked up Arizona as a loss, Duke as a loss.
Do you
I
split
put us as a
Michigan, or do you
split.
finally
I
sweep
put us
this
as a
year?
split because it's a rivalry that seems
Credit to you.
we're just lose there a lot. So I have that as a split. I have Purdue a loss. I have at Illinois a loss. Basically, any road game against a decent team, I said we'd lose. We don't have that many decent games. I had Wisconsin a loss, and I don't actually think we're going to lose that. But I was trying to be conservative. I put Butler and I circled that game and said Michigan State by 45. And also Southern Indiana on Thursday
I definitely
could be in for a very unfortunate evening.
do think the Butler game will be more passion because it's the next respectable opponent that you have at home. And then it won't change what I think about Butler. I think Butler's going to be solid this year. I like what I saw out of the boys. They look good.
Evan, do you think, gun to your
They
head,
look
do we
good.
beat Duke after this performance? Are you willing to lay your balls down on the line and say that Tom Izzo gets the ship turned around for that game? Maybe we were looking ahead.
I wouldn't be shocked if we beat Duke. I don't think Duke's that almighty and special.
Don't they have a bunch of returning players, though?
They have like two
They have the
returning.
Filipkowski or whatever his
but
name is.
Sissoko's going to own that ass. Probably not. But we can get beat inside all day. It's just,
I'm also
Don't
the
they
guy
always
that I
improve?
think you need to start the game just with a big Power 5 team. Like, look at how we played in the first game against Gonzaga versus how we played James Madison. But also, could this be a trend with the team because you came out and stunk against Tennessee, Power 5 opponent, you come out and stunk against bad starts?
I missed that last part.
Would you rather? Oh, sorry.
The bad starts, I'm just saying back-to-back bad starts to start the year. Is it going to be a trend for the rest of the start of the season?
I mean, we're a typically slow starting team, and
What-
we usually play really well in the second half. That's just been the Izzo mantra, it seems, for years. We can
Not
start
really.
hot, but like last year, we had a lot of games where we just were slow starting.
Not Marquette, not USC.
The end of the season,
Not
Evan,
Ohio State at
that was a
home.
different basketball team, and that is actually what matters. So that is what we're trying to get better for. Is March, not now. It's okay. It's the long game.
Look, but everyone can.
They
react
can,
their
but
own
it
way.
is
Why
the
he's
long
getting
game.
upset. I get why.
And
everyone's-
anybody that's watched Michigan State basketball has watched this team lose shitty games because every college basketball team does it.
It just compounded everything because your football season got
Football
shot.
made
I
it
understand why
worse,
people were
yes.
doomsday. I get it.
But you gotta relax. Gotta trust the process.
Would you rather lose a bye game to James Madison at home or continue to play on an aircraft carrier in a shitty product of basketball?
Aircraft carrier.
It's at least cool to say that we're the
Right.
only school to do it twice. Right?
You guys did have a bad Notre Dame
Got
loss. Holy
spanked
cow!
by
I just
Notre
looked at
Dame
the
at
schedule.
Notre Dame. Killed by them.
Corby,
We had the Iowa game.
Corbett
we lost,
Bryant.
So we were up 12 a minute left.
that. It was
That was
because they
later
lost to
in the year.
Texas
That was
Southern one year
later
and went to
in
the
the
Final
year.
Four that year.
Your early losses were Gonzaga, but that's not a bad loss. Alabama, not a bad loss. Notre Dame, and then Northwestern
Terrible.
back to back, and then
Terrible
right
2
the ship
losses
for
in a
like
row.
10 wins in a row.
Yeah, this is college basketball. People lose shitty games all the time.
Anarchy.
That's why I love
Anarchy.
it so much because it's such a
And
sicko sport, as Grant said.
And it's
Yeah.
not like football where like when Michigan
Season's
lost to App
not
State,
done.
your whole season's over. This is completely different.
You could lose
Right.
10
You're
games
fine.
and you'd be a 7 seed or a 6 seed and go to the Sweet 16. What we did last year.
That's why I had no need to troll or start the show with it because it's really not that big of a deal to me. And I know it's
it
not
sucks,
spicy for
but it's
Michigan fans,
not
but I don't really
the end of
care.
the world.
I am in on James Madison though. They got some
They're pretty
dogs
good.
on their team.
They deserve it.
Except for that the white kid with the receding hairline, he is clueless when dribbling the basketball.
They had some players that I thought like their forwards were better than Malik Hall. Like we could have traded.
The kid from New York that was draining the
Those are
one-on-one
pissing me
step back
off.
shots in the end of the regulation.
Good for him. Though.
Oh, I had flashbacks to the Kansas State kid from last year's game.
They'll be just fine.
All right.
Until they're not.
That's the show, episode 140. Cheers to Connor Stallions and playing Penn State this weekend.
Cheers.
Cheers to a suspension tomorrow that actually is going to make everything we said at the start of the show irrelevant.
Southern Indiana getting
Molly Whopped.
or we'll